Well, hello and good morning. Welcome to Shop on TV with me, Rob Block with an E. That rhymes. How are you? Well, okay, so this is the show that I always love to present because it's about a product that not only, or products actually, that not only do I own in abundance, I actually have, let me see, so it's bedding, by the way, pillows and duvets and things, oh my, but with a difference. So it's got a magic thing to it. Well, it's not really magic, but to me it's magic, and to you it will feel like magic when you sleep under one, or on one if it's a pillow. So I have, at home, I have two homes at the moment. So I have a home in London, where that's my actual home, and I have a super king size bed, which has a super king size Mulberry Silk Duvet on it, and I've got two Mulberry Silk pillows. I've also got a Mulberry Silk mattress protector and all kinds of other gubbins as well. My son has a king size bed, king size duvet, king size, or two pillows and a king size mattress protector. And then we have a crew house in Warrington currently. We've moved our studios to Manchester, so we stay in Warrington. And all the crew, there are 4 rooms, they all have Mulberry Silk duvets, they all have Mulberry Silk pillows. And I have a Mulberry Silk mattress as well. In fact, I have 3 Mulberry Silk mattresses. So they're good. No, they're not just good. They are, in my opinion, and this is my opinion, and you don't have to agree with me just because I'm telling you this. I hope that you'll agree with me when you find out for yourselves. They are the best duvets and pillows and mattresses, actually, that money can buy. Why? How? How's that possible, Rob? I hear you cry. Well, let me tell you. If I didn't tell you, I'd be wasting your time and mine. So Mulberry Silk is literally, and I don't get to say this very often, it is the best silk money can buy. It is regarded as, in the industry, the silk industry, the very best money can buy. It's one of those things I always say, if you had a suitcase full of money, you know, like the one I got in the back of my motor, and you said, I want the finest silk in all the land, then it would be Mulberry Silk, which is indigenous to China. So silk comes from silkworms, and when silkworms spin a cocoon around them in order to metamorphose into moths, the cocoon is actually the silk. In fact, I can show you, because I've got one here. Now, it's got the tip of it has been removed so that the worm is not in it anymore, but I've put my pinky in there instead. So that is a silk. That's silk. That's actual silk. And they're very fine little fibres, as you can see. But the thing about this is, I'm squeezing that. Really, it's very, 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 very strong. So sort of tensile strength compared to other things, other materials like steel and what have you. So if you compared like for like, that silk is actually stronger than steel. In fact, it's strongest of all, second only to spider's web. So they are very, very strong, and they're also designed to protect that which is inside, which is a life form. So they're able to protect the worm while it's sort of going through its change from all kinds of changes in weather and temperature, because you don't get monsoons. It can be really hot by day, really cold by night, and plus also it's there to keep predators out. So this cocoon, what the good folks at Mulberry Silk do, and all this bedding is from the official Mulberry Silk Company Limited, and they're actually a Canadian company. So and they're made in one of the top factories in China that specialise in silk, and the guy who owns that is an absolute expert when it comes to bedding and sleep products. So you really are buying top pedigree, top shelf. But this one cocoon, that it's put in tepid water and it unravels. And so they take the complete unbroken full-length fibre of each cocoon, which can be 1 to 2 miles long. And they take a few of those cocoons and the fibres, and they sort of wind them together into threads. And then those threads are what, again, in completely unbroken form, are stitched to the top of the duvet. And the outside of the duvet, by the way, is 100% long-fibre Egyptian cotton. We'll get to the 230 thread count. And then they sort of pull it down and they lock it in with, or they stitch it in with these box cassettes so it can't move around. So in a pillow, there are thousands of these, some 3,000 or 4,000 of these cocoons, 7 or 8 or 8 or 9,000 actually, depending on the size of your duvet, in the duvet. And, you know, in a pillow, you've got maybe 4 or 5 miles of AAA grade Mulberry Silk, and you've got 8 or 9 miles of AAA grade Mulberry Silk inside a duvet. That's all it is. It's 2 components. Top quality AAA grade mulberry silk on the inside, and then Egyptian long fibre, long fibre Egyptian cotton on the outside, 230 thread count. And they're all handmade as well. So the other thing also that's very important, and I made a little, or I alluded to it in what I was saying earlier, that when there's a worm in there, this has to be able to maintain it when there are huge temperature variances. So one of the properties of silk, and only Mother Nature really knows how this works, but it's something that I suppose has evolved over time, is that it keeps you warm in the winter and cool in the summer, or it helps to. Certainly it absolutely keeps you warm in the winter. I mean, look, if it's 120 degrees outside, putting a silk duvet around you is not going to make you feel cool, but it is going to help to cool you down. And that's because it's naturally temperature regulating. That's one of the huge properties about silk. So it's very strong, it's very hard wearing, it's naturally temperature regulating, but also because, if it got humid inside this little thing, the worm would start to get a bit sweaty and whatnot, I presume. And what? I suppose the thing would fill up with sweat eventually, wouldn't it? But that doesn't happen. By the way, I know nothing about biology. Probably that whole thing about worm sweating is absolute nonsense. But I'm making a point. We do sweat, and one of the other amazing properties of silk is that it wicks away about 30% of its weight in moisture. So when you sleep under a mulberry silk duvet or with your head on top of a mulberry silk pillow, or if your body is on top of a mulberry silk mattress, first of all, you never overheat. You never, ever get too hot. Secondly, you're not waking up in a pool of sweat, or you're not waking up clammy, and with the pillow, you're not waking up with wet hair and having to turn the pillow over because it's too hot on one side and you're going for the cool side. And what do these things do? At the end of the day, this is the problem. This is solving, or these items are solving. They are waking you up. If you wake up because you're too hot, and this is what happens with any duvet that is not mulberry silk. Certainly any duvet that is made out of either a feather product or any kind of synthetic fibre. They do not temperature regulate. They trap heat. And so this is the prime time of year for this, because you've probably got the central heating on at night. And so you get into bed and you're warm, the room is warm. You put the duvet on and you heat up. And look, when you think about this, you'll be able to be honest with yourself and accept that you eventually get too hot, don't you? And you wake up and you go, throw the duvet off. But then, in the middle of the night, the heating goes off and you get cold. And then you wake up again, you go, and I don't know if you go exactly like that, and you put the duvet back on. And that happens, that process, duvet off, duvet on, duvet off, the duvet on, duvet off, duvet on, happens all night long. And also, maybe you wake up, as I said, with a hot head, if you've got a synthetic pillow or a feather pillow, that's also probably not giving you any support, even if you've got 2 or 3 of these things stacked up. And also, potentially, a sweaty head. It wakes you up. So between the combination of those 2 things, you're getting what they call in the sleep business. Is there a sleep business? I suppose there is. Toxic sleep. So toxic sleep is, as anything that's toxic would suggest, is bad for you. Because in order to get the full regenerative, restorative, healing, good quality night's sleep that we as human beings need, there are various cycles of sleep. Your brain goes through different levels and different waves and different patterns and different this and different that. And it has to go through all of those stages, and one cycle of that takes about 90 minutes, I'm told, in order to get the full effect of what sleep is actually for, the whole reason that we sleep in the first place. If you get woken up at any point during that cycle, you can't just pick up where you left off. You have to go back to the beginning again. So what is happening to a lot of people, most people actually, I would say, in the world, certainly anybody I'm confident in saying who doesn't or who does sleep on a synthetic pillow or under a synthetic duvet, or a duvet or a pillow that have any kind of feather product, a duck, feather, goose down, that kind of thing. You're getting constantly interrupted sleep. toxic sleep, as they call it. And that means you're never getting the full benefits of sleep. You're never getting that full, proper, restorative, regenerative, healing night's sleep that gives you sort of full recovery from the previous day. And so, and I'm sure you can admit, and think of the last time this happened to you, it might have even been last night, where you woke up in the morning and you may have had your 8 or 9 hours, but you kind of go, crikey, I slept for ages, but I still feel tired. Have you ever been in that situation? That's toxic sleep. And if you're somebody who's not blessed with the ability to have an awful lot of sleep, you must feel just absolutely cream crackered all the time if you're getting toxic sleep. And as I say, I assert that if you have a feather duvet or pillow or a synthetic hollow fibre duvet or pillow, that's been your sleep pattern all your life, or all the time you've ever slept on or under those products. So actually, and I always say this, and it sounds really condescending, and I don't mean it like that at all. I mean it with good intention here. You don't know what you don't know. I accept that I don't know what I don't know. And I'm sure that you, as intelligent people, can accept that you don't know what you don't know. It's logical. You don't. Nobody does. So all I can do is educate you. And so by telling you this, I'm sure the penny's already dropping. You go, hang on a minute, wow, that's interesting. So this product, because you never overheat. Honestly, the first time I tried a Mulberry Silk Duvet, and by the way, I haven't even scratched the surface. In fact, before I tell the story, let me scratch the surface deeper. Let me tell you, the duvets have a 10-year guarantee, a decade. What duvet have you ever heard of that has a 10-year guarantee? Actually, duvets don't have guarantees. Well, they certainly don't have money-back guarantees, because the minute you open the package, the same with pillows, the minute you open the pillow packages, you can't return them anymore. I believe it's a law. And so that's it, you're stuck with it. So if you get that pillow home or you get that duvet home and you don't like it, you're stuck with it. Or you throw it away, and that's what a lot of people do. There are millions of pillows and duvets that go into landfill every single year for that very reason, or something, associated with it. So first of all, 10-year guarantee on the duvet, 2-year guarantee on the pillow. So if anything goes wrong with it, if you have any issues with them, you've got 2 years on the pillow and 10. Now, I've had my pillows for 5 years, by the way, and I've had my duvets for 5 years as well. There are people out there, we've had heard of stories from people who've had their duvets for 30, 40 years. I believe Ray Kennedy, who is the gentleman who owns RK Sales, which is the exclusive distributor of Mulberry Silk products in the United Kingdom, they sell these on their website, and we are the only other exclusive place that you can get them from, and our prices are better. They make sure of that. So that's why you buy them from us. But he's had his for 37 years. So, but the thing is that's great if you have an issue. They're a great company. They've been in business 67 years. A real live person will answer the phone and help you if you so need it. But that's not the point I want to make here. That's not even the best bit. The best bit is that Mulberry Silk, or RK Sales, and their information's on every tag of every item you buy. They offer you an unconditional money-back guarantee. They don't even really stipulate that it's a 30-day money-back guarantee. It's a guide. But if you're not happy at any point within sort of the first reasonable amount of time that since you've made your purchase, you call them and they will refund your money absolutely in full. The only thing that you won't get back is the postage and packing, because look, we have to pay the postman, or essentially you have to pay the postman for us to send the package to you. But whatever you've paid for the duvet or pillow or mattress, anything, or pillowcases, we've got 100% pure Mulberry Silk pillowcases as well, you'll get all that money back. So you can literally try these with complete confidence, in knowing that if everything I'm saying now that you don't agree with, or that when you get it at home, or you think for any reason it's not correct, it's not accurate, it's not even true, it is, but you can find it out for yourself. And then if you do disagree, you literally get your money back. No questions asked. As Ray always says, they will give you your money back with the same civility that they took it from you, which is pretty good. Now, here's the other thing. You can't wash hollow fibre. Certainly pillows. You put a hollow fibre pillow, or even a feather pillow for that matter, into a washing machine, and good luck with however it comes out. You could theoretically dry clean duvets if they are feather or if they are hollow fibre, but it can cost you, 20, 30 pounds, maybe more, to do that. And actually, a lot of people, they don't spend much more than that on the duvet in the first place. The pillows, how many times have you gone and bought a pack of 2 or a pack of 4, for a 10 or a 20 quid or something like that? And it's alluring, isn't it? When you see that price, you think, oh, that's a bit of that's a bargain, isn't it? And then you actually you try and sleep on them or under them, and you're like, and you realise you're reminded, because you know anyway, that you get what you pay for. So yeah, these let's look at the duvets. They are a bit more expensive. But you know, let's talk about the economy of scale here, shall we? So the single is £139. By the way, our usual prices are the prices that these should be. These, but funnily enough, they were 22 years ago when they first launched on television. Our prices now are lower than they've ever been in the past. And at 139 for the single, 179 for the double, 199 for the king, and 219 for the Super King. Now let's just say, for argument's sake, plus the delivery of £4.95 obviously, let's just say for argument's sake, they only last for 10 years. Well, that's £1.39 a year for the single. It works out 4p a day, roughly. The double is £1.79 a year. The king that's all it's costing you. £1.99 a year for the king, and that, by the way, the double 5 pence a day, 6 pence a day for the king, Super King £2.19. You probably pay more boiling a cup of or a kettle for a cup of coffee than you would to sleep in absolute luxury. But here's the other thing, it's not just luxury, as I've already mentioned, it's also to actually maximise the whole reason that you sleep in the first place, which is to feel good, you know, to restore yourself. How are you when you don't sleep well? I mean, obviously, you know, if you're in company, you don't have to answer the television out loud. I'm just asking you to think about this. You know, do you get ratty? Do you get sort of a little bit short with people, irritable, that kind of thing? I know I do. In fact, the only times I've ever had arguments with people I care about are usually when I'm extremely tired and or stressed. And actually, tiredness can lead to stress, because also it's hard to work, isn't it, when you're tired? Especially if you've got a job that requires a lot of focus. If you're tired, you just can't seem to function as well as you can when you've had a good night's sleep. But if you've been sleeping on hollow fibre or feather, you haven't ever had a good night's sleep. And I know that's a really crazy thing to say, but I think you'll find it's true. So use your money-back guarantee and try the alternative. Oh, by the way, these are machine. I kind of thought I went the long way around. They're machine washable, these. Yeah. So the duvet, even the Super King size duvet, will fit into a regular 7.5 kilo front-loading washing machine. Because the properties of silk are so excellent, you don't need a lot. I mean, you know, this little cocoon I've got here is not big and bulky. It's very slender. And one of the things that people often say, in fact, almost always say about the Mulberry Silk duvets is, God, they're really thin. Are they really going to keep me warm? Yeah, they are. And you will be doubtful when you get this package, because trust me, one of these duvets will happily fit in the side of a carry-on suitcase. And I know this because I frequently have my duvet, and I've got a Super King in one side of my case, and I've got a pillow, or even two, in the other side of my case, and I take my bedding with me. There you can see on the screen, those are the fibres. By the way, all the duvets have a little vanity window, a little zip, just that allows you to open it up and see what's inside, so that you can verify the quality of what you've bought. And that's always a good thing, and it doesn't serve any purpose other than that. It's your peace of mind. By the way, you don't need... OK, so that package there, that's a Super King. That's it. That's the size of it, believe it or not. But what I started a little story earlier that I will continue. When I was when I was a young boy. No, during lockdown, which is all becoming a bit of a blur and a distant memory now, we got to that point. Do you recall when the hotels closed and only key workers could stay in the hotel? So I was working in Peterborough, living in London, but working in Peterborough at the time for a company that also was broadcasting on ITV under a different name. And I'd done a show, a Mulberry Silk show, for the first time. And I was with Ray Kennedy, our guest. In fact, we'll probably, if we get to the mattress later, we've got a bit of video and you'll get to see him. He's a wonderful Scottish fella from Glasgow. And it was -7 degrees outside, freezing. But because basically it was either shut the company down or find a way to keep going. And our CEO, who was the same CEO actually that we have now at Shop on TV, he found these things called bunker bins, B-U-N-K-A, bins, B-I-N-S. Have a Google, they're hilarious. They're about, I don't know, 6 foot wide by 7 foot deep by about probably 6-7 feet tall. And they're like porta cabins, but they're for one human person. And inside, as you walked in, on the left-hand side, you've got sort of shelving, a little desk area, like a, you know, kind of dressing table type area with a microwave. And then on the right-hand side, there was a fridge and a single bed. That was it. And then behind that, there was a little, I don't know if it, was it a door? No, I don't, it was just a, you know, an opening. Little teeny weeny shower on the right-hand side. You had to breathe in when you got into it. Little teeny sink, which was like, you'd wash your face like this. And then a toilet that had an inch either side. I couldn't use the toilet because I couldn't, I mean, I could sit on it, but I couldn't. And that's what I lived in, and many of the presenters and guests on that show did for, I was about 6 months, wasn't it? Something, that was a long, was it 6 months? 4, it was between 3 to 6 months, I can't remember exactly. But it was freezing. Now, they did have heaters, but they never worked and they weren't very good. So I'd been laughing about this with Ray in the green room before we went on air. And at the end of the show, I was so intrigued by this whole Mulberry Silk thing. I said, can I borrow a single duvet? Because I'm so cold in my bunker bin. And he said, yeah, sure. And he said, if you like it, buy it. And I went, all right, okay, fine. But I thought, I'm putting this to the test, because like you, I was very sceptical. And I thought, yeah, it's just, I've been around sales and marketing my whole life, and I've forgotten more than a lot of people know about it. And I'm not saying that to boast, I'm just saying it's just a fact. And I thought, yeah, it's just marketing hype. Well, blow me if it weren't absolutely true. I mean, honestly, so what I did was I stripped down to my briefs, and there's an image for you. That'll help you sleep. And I got into my little single bed, and it was one of those awful cheap mattresses with, you know, with the serpentine springs. So I sat down at the sort of head end, and the end of the mattress popped up. Oh, it was awful. And my bum went and hit the wood underneath the springs as they immediately compressed under my weight. But I wrapped myself, well, you could say I cocooned myself, in this Mulberry Silk Duvet. And I thought, okay, so after, I mean, by the way, you get warm pretty quickly. So after about, I don't know, a minute or two, and I'm like, oh, this is nice. Oh, lovely and toasty warm. And I'd literally wrapped it all around me, and I thought, I'm gonna get too hot. I'm gonna overheat. I'm sure I'm gonna overheat. I was wearing a watch at the time. I'm gonna overheat. And I never did. And I literally fell asleep, and I woke up after 6-7 hours, whatever it was, and I was still in exactly the same position in which I'd fallen asleep, with the duvet in exactly the same position. Because actually, it's a bit of a myth about the whole tossing and turning at night. You're actually not supposed to, really. Not very much, anyway. One of the signs I'm told by people who know more about this than I do is that if you wake up in the morning and your covers are in almost exactly the same position that they were when you went to sleep, and the same with you probably had a good night's sleep. And also, by the way, if you think, well, I had lots of dreams last night, I must have slept really deeply. No. Dreams come in the very lightest layer of sleep just before you wake up. So, yeah, sorry, if you think dreaming means you've had a good night's sleep, no. So, honestly, and to this day, people laughed when I said this on a show I did recently, where I said I do funny things under my duvet sometimes when I do, because I wake up, and I did this literally a few days ago. I woke up, and it was on a really cold day, and I hadn't got the heating on, because I save a ton on my heating bills by using Mulberry Silk duvets instead of turning the heating on, because you can't regulate central heating. It's such an archaic thing, really, when you think about it, isn't it? But I was nicely wrapped up in my king-size duvet, because even though I've got a double bed, I've got a king-size duvet like this. Then you get that, what we like to call the hotel drape. So you can put a double on a single bed, or you can put a king on a double bed, or you can put a super king on a king bed, and obviously super king is the largest they go. But even without that, you lose about 6 inches, but you still get a nice drape, even if you just buy the right size for the appropriate bed. But I woke up and I thought, oh my gosh, this is where I fell asleep about 8 hours prior. And I thought, I have absolutely no idea what the temperature is outside of my little cocoon. And so I sort of pulled off the end of the duvet and stuck my foot out, and it was blooming freezing. I was like, jeez, put it back on as quickly as I could. Because you don't know. It does what it says on the tin. Silk does what it's designed to do. Regulate your temperature. Keep you the right temperature all the time, no matter what the temperature is outside. That's what it does for the worm. That's what it does for you, in my experience. But that also means, and when people say, is there a TOG rating? No, there is no official TOG rating with silk because it's a natural fibre. Some companies have started putting one on because people always ask, and they probably just got fed up with people asking. But there isn't one. So, essentially, when you've got one of these duvets upon you, you're going to be the right temperature. So it doesn't matter whether you run hot or whether you run cold. And it doesn't matter if you're sleeping next to somebody who is the polar opposite to you. If you've got poor circulation and you tend to run very cold, and your partner is next to you and they're like a furnace, it doesn't matter. They will get the ideal temperature for them, and you will get the ideal temperature for you. And that's what silk does. It's naturally temperature regulating. So in summary, naturally temperature regulating, so you get the ideal temperature for the way you like or the way you prefer. And it's based off your own body heat. Whatever you're putting out, silk dissipates extraneous heat, I suppose. I don't really know the science of it, but it does it anyway. 10-year guarantee on the duvet, 2-year guarantee on the pillow, 5-year guarantee on the pillowcases, which we'll get to once we get to ITV. And we've also got the mattress as well, which has got a 10-year guarantee on it. I mean, it's just extraordinary. So the point is that this could be the last duvet and the last pillow you ever need to buy. I mean, certainly you buy one of these for yourself. If you're middle-aged, it could outlive you if you look after it. And if you buy this for one of your children, if you have them, or children and child, they could be middle-aged before they'd even think about having to change their duvet. So that's what makes these prices so extraordinarily good. You are talking about pennies and pennies and pennies, and only pennies each year in order to own one. And because, again, you can machine wash them as much as you like, 30-degree wash, cold wash, use your regular laundry detergent, whether it's powder, whether it's tablet or liquid or gel or whatever it happens to be. Yes, you can use fabric softener. Yes, you can tumble dry them on low, but you can line dry them as well. And I find they dry beautifully just because I'm in a flat. So I have a little collapsible clothes horse. And they dry, the duvets dry in about 3/4 of an hour. The pillows, you can get theoretically 2 into a front-loading washing machine, standard sort of 7.5 kilo. If you've got a big washing machine that's larger than 7.5 kilos, no problem at all. But I like to give my pillows, because I care about them, you see. I like to give them room to move around. So I do one at a time. And what I find, I put them on the clothes horse, and it takes about 45 minutes each side, actually, so I'll flip them over. And they dry perfectly. And what I do, if you've got, let's say you've got these for the kids, and if they dribble, well, we all dribble, but if there are any stains on there, you can get, I know Vanish do one, because that's the one I use. Probably there are other companies that do them as well. But you can't use the oxy powders and things like that, but you can, there are certain gels that are okay to, they're silk safe, yes. So make sure you check they're silk safe, and you'll be fine. And they dry and wash back to their original form. And also, incidentally, the pillows have got a fibre core in them. And so what that means is the only part of the pillow that isn't a natural fibre, and it's pure, and it doesn't matter because it's wrapped in miles of mulberry silk, but the fibre core is purely to give the pillow stability. It will always come back to its original shape. And you know, this is a new one, but this looks just like the one I've been using for 5 years. But look, anyway, we're going to join ITV and STV. So check out your baskets if you want to sleep better. And I'll be back and I'll be saying all of that again in a moment from now. See you in a bit.
Merry Christmas!
Well, hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Shop on TV with me, Rob Locke, with a pillow. and an E on the end of my name as well. And by the way, feel free to follow me and subscribe and like and do all that stuff at Rob Lock on TV. Rob Lock with an E, if I didn't make that clear, on TV. Oh, there it is. I have an E in my name, I do, yeah. Now, ladies and gentlemen, stop right now, thank you very much. If I could give you an opportunity to sleep better than you're sleeping right now by quite a margin, and make sure that you sleep really well from, I'd say, probably the middle of the next week and for the rest of your life, is that something you would be interested in? What do you like? What do you like when you don't sleep well? Come on, let's be honest for a second. By the way, if you've just tuned in, we are a shopping show, and this is going somewhere, trust me, and it's going somewhere good. So indulge me. Give me 20 minutes, half an hour of your time, and I promise you I'll change your life tonight. I will. I mean it. I'll prove it. And if I don't, then you can tell me on our email, studio@shopontv.co.uk, and I will not only apologise, but I will spank myself live on television. Okay? Anyway, that aside, seriously, this is all about sleep. This show is all about sleep. And I'm going to make some pretty bold claims tonight, but they just happen to be true, I think you'll find. Certainly I have. So seriously, if you don't mind, just allow yourself to think for a moment what you're like when you've had a really bad night's sleep. Can you remember the last time you slept really badly? Didn't get enough sleep, didn't get very good quality sleep, and then when you woke up, if you even managed to fully fall asleep in the first place, what was the rest of your day like? I mean, were you irritable? Did you have a row with somebody, maybe? Did you have to go to work? Was it a struggle to be able to concentrate? Do you remember driving to work, if you drive? Or did you have to do a motorway journey? I've done that. Did you almost fall asleep at the wheel? Has that ever happened to you? It's happened to me a couple of times. Did you almost miss your stop on the train? Oh, that used to happen. Honestly, for a whole year, I worked for a news company, and it was a 9-to-5 job, and every morning I almost missed my station because I couldn't sleep. Well, the reason I'm asking all of this is, well, let's just put that to one side for now, shall we? What was it like when you had a really good night's sleep? Can you remember a time you felt you slept just better than you've ever slept before? What was your day like then? I bet you were dancing on clouds, right? Well, what if I told you that even on that day, you probably didn't have a very good night's sleep? You go, that would pull the other one, Rob. Well, here's the thing. I'm going to give you a simple test. Do you have a duvet and or a pillow that is hollow fibre, synthetic fibre? If the answer is yes, you've never had, and that's all you've ever slept on, you've never had a proper night's sleep. And I mean it, honestly, because you don't know what you don't know. Obviously, that's logical. None of us know what we don't know. And I'm about to make sure you do know, so you can make an educated choice. The other thing is, if you've ever slept on or under any kind of duvet or a pillow that is filled with any kind of feathers, even the really expensive down. Sorry, survey says, you haven't had a proper night's sleep. But now you can, because we have duvets and pillows and pillowcases and even mattresses actually tonight that are filled with AAA grade mulberry silk. So the duvet, honestly, it's the best thing I've ever slept under. AAA grade, this is going to take, I'm going to try and get through this as quickly as I can, but it's going to take a couple of minutes for me to explain all of the parameters that will then allow the penny to drop for you to go, oh, right, I see what you're saying. Mulberry silk, AAA grade mulberry silk, is the finest silk money can buy. It is regarded in the silk industry as, you know, there is no better. If you had a suitcase full of money, you could not buy better. Simple as that. That's it. Comes from China. It's indigenous to China. It's silkworms that you know, they are indigenous to various regions in China. When they metamorphose into a moth, they cocoon themselves. I have an actual, in fact, let me put this down, an actual cocoon here, and so they are incredibly strong. They have a tensile strength that's stronger than steel, if you were to compare sort of like to like, if you had a piece of steel and a piece of silk that were the same size. Second only in strength, tensile strength, to spider's web, funnily enough, which is the strongest. Very, very, very strong. But also in this, and you can see that's the worm would have been in there as he was turning into a moth. That is a protective barrier. It has to be able to withstand very high temperatures to very low temperatures, very hot, sunny days, very wet, monsoony days, and obviously it's got to stop all of the things that want to eat the worm from getting in as well. That is what that's for, and it takes about a month, I think, for the whole metamorphosis to take place. So silk has these incredible properties. Number one, it's temperature regulating. Now that means, because obviously if it was hot for a minute and then it was cold, the worm inside hasn't got a thermostat and central heating. You know, if it got too cold or too hot, it would die. So that's what silk is there to protect it, to keep it alive, right? And the same if it was very wet or if it was very dry. Doesn't matter what the temperatures or the conditions are outside, the worm has to stay at this constant, you know, sort of temperature and it has to have an ideal environment inside. And that's what silk does for you in a duvet. It naturally regulates your temperature. So in other words, it helps to keep you warm in the winter, and not just warm, but the perfect temperature for you. And everyone will have a different experience, but it will be, if somebody runs hot, they'll get the perfect temperature for them. If somebody runs cold, they'll get the perfect temperature for them, right? Then, it also is designed, I say designed, by Mother Nature. One of the properties of silk, it wicks away moisture. Up to 30% of its weight, it will wick away in moisture. So there is no, if you sweat at night, and let's face it, we all do, there's no more waking up feeling clammy. There's no more waking up like with your head on a pillow with wet hair and a hot head, and then you turn the pillow around and then you start the whole process again. All these products are guaranteed, by the way. So as you're listening to what I'm saying and you're starting to think, oh my, I never thought that a duvet or a pillow could be so, you know, special. Keep this in mind. You have an unconditional 30-day, well, actually, it's not even really 30 days. The company that distributes these, they offer an unconditional money-back guarantee. They never really stipulate a period of time. We'll say 30 days just to give you a guide. But actually what they do say is if you're not, at any point, if you're not satisfied with your duvet or your pillow, you call them, not us, it's them. Their contact info is on the tag of every product you buy tonight. They will refund every penny you've paid. And as the owner of the company that distributes these, Ray Kennedy from RK Sales, you may have seen him in the past, wonderful Scottish fella. He says, we will give you your money back with the same civility we took it from you. But that's just one part of it. So you can try everything tonight, and if you don't like it, your money's safe. But the duvets have a 10-year guarantee. 10 years. So if anything goes wrong with your duvet at any point in 10 years, they will sort you out. They'll either repair it or replace it. Probably just replace it. And even after 10 years, they always say they're reasonable people, and if there was a genuine issue, they would always be very sympathetic. So, but the fact is that there are people that have written to us, people we know, who have had these duvets. Ray himself, the owner of the company, has had his duvet for 37 years. And there are people who've had theirs for 20, 30, maybe even more years. And it's, you know, they're still going strong. So when you look at the prices, yeah, they're a little bit more expensive than the cheap rubbish you buy or can buy. But when you think about it, you've got two aspects to the pricing. Number one, our usual prices. Those are the prices we used to charge, or they used to charge 20 years ago. But now, £139, this is the lowest price ever. By the way, we've only got a handful of the singles, so if you want the single duvet, get them as quickly as you can. Now, by the way, that works out at, if they only lasted 10 years, that's £1.39 a year. It's about 4p a day. If you go for the double, it's £179. And by the way, if you want the hotel drape, you can always get a double and put it on a single bed. Then you get extra drape and you get extra lovely silky duvet. If you want to go for the king, and by the way, 4p a day for the double, it works out at roughly £1.79 a year. £1.99 for the king. And that works out at about 5p a day, and the Super King is £219, so £2.19 a year. If they just lasted 10 years, or about 7p a year, and we've only got a handful of the Super King as well. So the Super King and the single are in jeopardy. So naturally temperature regulating, wicks away up to 30% of its weight in moisture, 10-year guarantee on the duvet, 2-year guarantee on the pillow. Yes, you've got a guarantee even on the pillow. And yes, you've got a money-back guarantee. Yes, you can take it back. If you've ever tried to take pillows back you bought from a department store or a bedding shop, you can't. As soon as you've opened the package, you're stuck with them. That's why millions go into landfill every single year. And the pillow's machine washable. The duvets are machine washable. The pillowcases are machine washable. And there's something even better that I haven't mentioned yet. They're all covered by the Allergy UK Certificate of Approval for effectiveness against live dust mites. Silk is a very dry, very arid environment, and dust mites just don't like to live there. It's like us going into the Sahara Desert. We might venture in for a picnic, you know, have a glass of something and a couple of dates, but then we don't live there because it's just not conducive to life, and that's the same with silk and dust mites. So if you have any allergy sufferers who specifically do suffer from dust mites, or if you've got asthmatics, and in fact, actually, I don't know if my son's watching, but he's currently in Croydon Hospital. And hello to everyone at Croydon Hospital if you've got ITV on, and David is my son. If he told you he was my son and you didn't believe him, he is. And he's all right. He had basically a cold, possibly a chest infection, and his asthma flared up. So I know very well what it's like about allergy sufferers, because I have to make sure, and we've had to make sure that, and I was the same when I was a kid. My parents had to do the same. You've got to keep the environment as free from allergens as you possibly can. And this is the great thing with pillows and with duvets. No dust mites, or one or two stragglers, but they don't last. They don't stay very long. Now, here's the other thing. Because, so the pillow, we'll just give you the details of this. Essentially, you've got a fibre core. Now, that is purely for stability, and so the pillow always maintains its shape. But then around it, you have full-length, unbroken mulberry silk, and I'm going to get into that in a moment. And then on the top, you have Egyptian cotton, a long-fibre Egyptian cotton, 230 thread count. Same is true with the duvet. The duvet doesn't have a fibre core, obviously, but that you see how it's got great loft to it. Generally speaking, I would suggest most people wouldn't ever need more than one of these. One on top of the other is going to be quite tall, but you could do it. It is great, actually, as I did and have, because I only have a bed in my room in our HMO, our crew house in Warrington. So I've got two Mulberry Silk pillows, and I put one on sort of like at an angle and another on top. And I sit up and I watch telly because I don't have a sofa, right? So they're great for sitting up in bed, great if you're convalescing, that sort of thing. But they never, ever, ever lose their shape. I've had my pillows, look, watch, boing. I've had my pillows for 5 years, nearly 6 years actually, and they're as good today as they were the day I bought them. And they are machine washable, remember, but also I can't even really touch my fingers together here because they're a medium firm. They have just this beautiful, they cradle the head, they're wonderfully soft, and they're just a level of comfort that I've never experienced in any pillow prior to using one of these. In my opinion, it's the best pillow money can buy. In my opinion, it's the best duvet money can buy. But here's the other thing. I want to sort of get into some other sort of bits of information for you about silk. And by the way, I can see emails coming in thick and fast. You know, if you've watched this show before, you know I am on a mission to help everybody in the United Kingdom sleep better. So if you've got Mulberry Silk, if you bought it on any of the previous shows and you've found everything that I'm saying right now is true, drop us an email because I want to read them out and I want everybody to understand just how good these products are. And I'd rather that come from you. You know, I don't get any commissions, you know, telling you about these. This enthusiasm is purely because I'm a user. Because I've got, okay, let me think. So I've got a super king size duvet in my flat in South London and two pillows. My son, David, the floor manager, he has a king size bed, but he's got a king size duvet with two pillows. In the crew house, I've got a double bed with a king duvet on it and two pillows, plus I've got two spare pillows, and then all the crew, and I've got a mattress as well because I've got a full double bed. The rest of the crew all have two Mulberry Silk pillows and they have king size duvets. There are 3 other rooms. Every single person that works for Shop on TV, every single person I worked at when we presented Mulberry Silk at a previous company that was also on ITV for a number of years, they all had Mulberry Silk. Everyone that I care about has Mulberry Silk because I make sure they do. And there's a reason for that, because you're going to sleep better than you've ever slept before, I believe. And I'll talk more about that in a moment. But here is a cocoon. This is an actual cocoon from a silkworm. Obviously, no worm is still in residence. But as I say, they're very, very strong. Now, what What they do at the Mulberry Silk, the official Mulberry Silk Manufacturing Company Limited, which is a Canadian company, and the silk comes from the premier factory in China that specialises in silk and bedding products. And the guy who owns that is, as Ray will tell you, an absolute genius when it comes to bedding products. So these cocoons are put into warm water and they unravel. And so I don't know if you can see this, but they're very, very fine fibres. So they unravel in one complete unbroken fibre. And then several of those are wound together into a thread, and those threads, full and unbroken, and that could be anything from 1 to 2 miles long, by the way, depending on the size of the cocoon. They are anchored to the top of the Egyptian cotton. They are draped and concertinaed and then held in place with these box cassettes so they can't slide around or clump or anything like that. There are no little offcuts. There is nothing else inside your duvet or your pillow, apart from the fibre core in the pillow. There is nothing else but miles and miles, about 8 or 9 miles, depending on the size of the duvet, and 4 or 5 miles in your pillow, of unbroken AAA grade mulberry silk. The Egyptian cotton on the outside is long fibre. So there are 2 types of cotton. There's long fibre and short fibre. Short fibre is machine picked and it tends to be very brittle and not as soft. Whereas long fibre is hand picked and it tends to be much more flexible and a lot softer. So long fibre Egyptian cotton, and the Egyptian part is not necessarily just origin, it's also thread count. So these are 230 thread count, all of these products. Anything over 200 is considered luxury, you know, that sort of hotel quality. And so these are soft, they are just absolutely beautiful. And remember, machine washable. You can wash a super king size duvet. In fact, when you see a little bit of video with the guy throwing the duvet, well, let's have a look at it now. You'll see at some point, you'll see a package. And that package is a super king size. A super king size will fit in a regular front-loading 7.5 kilo washing machine, believe it or not. And you could get 2 pillows in a regular washing machine. I generally like to wash them one at a time, but that's up to you. What you do, you babe. And 30-degree wash. You can use any regular laundry detergent, whether it's powder, whether it's gel, whether it is, anything you like, really. Tablets. You can use fabric softener if you want to as well. And you can also machine wash them. Now here, every single duvet has got this little vanity window. It doesn't serve any purpose except that you can feel, look at those fibres, you can feel what is inside your duvet. It's there to prove to you that you've got a top quality duvet that does only contain full length, unbroken, AAA grade mulberry silk. And they are fully machine washable. I think it's coming up in a moment. Any second now you're going to see the package, because the first thing you'll say when you get your duvet at home is you'll say, there it is, that's a Super King. You can see Super King ticked. That's the size of it. That will fit in one side of a carry-on suitcase, and you get a pillow in the other side if you want to take your bedding with you, if you're a road warrior or something like that. I take them away whenever I travel, wherever I go, if I just go on holiday. I've even been known to fly with them because once you've slept on mulberry silk, under a mulberry silk duvet with your head on a mulberry silk pillow, it's really hard to go to a hotel and sleep on hollow fibre, synthetic fibre, or bedding ever again. And also, you may have allergies to feathers, which I did. I had horrible allergies to feathers. So the other thing to point out is that when it comes to dust mites, we talked about dust mites in the Allergy UK, this pillow, even after years and years of use and constant washing, it will never ever suffer from the problems, the dust mite problems that you are going to find. And it is endemic really in any pillow or any duvet that is synthetic fibre or any kind of feather product. You sweat into those, they get hot, they breed bacteria. It is holiday camp, it's Butlins for dust mites. It really or somewhere else. Are there any other holiday camps around? I don't even know if there are. Centre parks for dust mites. And so if you want to prove that if you've had your pillow for a while now and it's a synthetic pillow, hold your pillow out like that. If it droops at the side, well, part of that's probably because it's got no support. but the extra droop, it's the weight caused by dust mites, their droppings, and the carcasses of their former dead relatives. And the dust mites themselves are harmless, but it's their poo, actually, that's the allergen. A pillow that's 3 years old, up to half of the weight, and the same with the duvet, up to half of the weight is dust mites, dead dust mites, and dust mite poo. I mean, look, as I say, unless you're an allergy sufferer, it's not necessarily a problem, but I just prefer to sleep on things where I know that those aren't in there, you know, but that's up to you. We've got some emails, and if you've got any questions, obviously I don't have Ray with me tonight because unfortunately he wasn't available, so it's just me, myself, and I. But I've been specialising in Mulberry Silk for years because I'm a consumer, and I've done these shows many times. So if you've got any questions whatsoever, drop us an email, studio@shopontv.co.uk. And I will answer it, or I'll endeavour to, and I would love to also get your testimonials. So let me see, we've got Callum here. Hey Callum, how are you doing? He says, hello, I'm watching you on TikTok. Oh, where's TikTok gone? He's off around the building somewhere. And on my TV, aha. And all amazing. I watch you every night, but only the other week. Can you, oh sorry, but only, hang on, excuse me, I can't read tonight. Oh, I watch you hold on, Fraser, one sec. Hi, I'm watching you on TikTok and on my TV, and you're amazing. I watch you every night, but only on the weekend. Can you give me a shout out, please? Callum, of course I can. I tried very hard to give you a shout out, but unfortunately it seems that I've become completely and utterly incapable of talking. So, absolute, which is very unusual for me. So thank you, Callum. I appreciate that. Very nice to know that you're out there. Mitzi, hi Mitzi, how are you? Says, are there any duvet covers for this quilt, please? I can see the pillowcases and have bought the quilt, pillows and pillowcases, but would love the quilt cover too, please. Now, so the answer is, short answer is no. The long answer is yes. At the moment, no. But you can use any regular-sized duvet cover on the duvet. If white is your theme, you don't need a duvet cover at all. They're quilted and they look amazing without a cover. But if you want to change the colour, or if you just want to, you know, give it an extra layer of protection, yes, you can put a duvet cover on. But please, now hear this. Now hear this. This is an important announcement from Rob Lock with an E. Please only use natural fibre. So I would say cotton, and if you can do Egyptian cotton, Amazon do Egyptian cotton duvet sets with a couple of pillowcases, or a single. If it's a single, it'll have one pillowcase. Dunelm do them. There are other bedding, I think Dreams do them. You've got to get either, at the very least, regular cotton, but Egyptian cotton, a fitted sheet, which was 300 thread count, cost me 15 quid on Amazon, and the duvet set was about 25. So they're very affordable. If you put polyester or microfiber or any kind of synthetic fibre on your duvet, or your pillow for that matter, it's going to block all of the properties of the silk, the natural temperature regulating properties of the silk. The moisture wicking, that ain't going to work. You know, all of the good stuff. It's like, I always liken it to, if you had a non-stick pan and you put, I don't know, a chicken breast on the non-stick pan, it doesn't stick. Why? Because the breast is touching the non-stick, yeah? If you put a cast iron plate on top of the non-stick and then put the chicken breast on top of the cast iron plate, the non-stick's not going to work because the cast iron's in the way and they're not touching. Do you see what I mean? So it's the same with your bedding. So either no duvet cover or use a duvet cover, but only use, worst case scenario, standard cotton, best case scenario, Egyptian cotton. And as I say, Egyptian cotton, there ain't much in it. So I hope that answers your question. And the long answer, yes, we are getting some Egyptian cotton duvet covers that match the colours of the pillowcases, but they're not ready yet. They're all in the process of being sent over and shipped over and all that kind of stuff. So eventually, yes. Oh, Lady Gaga's on tonight again. How marvellous. Hey, Robbo. Hey, Gaga. How are you? Or Gigi, if I may call you. She says, I like to keep my MJ products in a controlled environment. I think I'd love some nice linen also. What's your recommendation? Well, I think that I've just given you my recommendation for some nice linen products. And so that's all I really can suggest. Why don't you get yourself... I assume that you do have already some mulberry silk, in which case I recommend some wonderful Egyptian cotton. Some, you know, maybe satin. You could do satin sheets. with a side of... I'll leave you to decide the rest of that sentence. Martin! Hey, Martin, how are you? Hey, Rob, purchased my super king size duvet a year ago. Wow, would never go back. I now sleep through the night without my legs or burn out. Yes, best buy ever, he says. Thank you, Martin. And then also Elizabeth says, hey, Rob, my daughter and I always enjoy seeing you on Shop on TV. Well, thank you very much. They say that I'm their favourite presenter. Oh, thanks. Serious question. How do I wash the Mulberry Silk pillows? Thinking of treating myself. That's an excellent question. I've got one more. And then I'll answer that. So, Fraser, will you make sure I don't forget Elizabeth's question? So, Leo says, hello, I'm really interested in the Mulberry Silk Duvet. What is the TOG? Please shout out to Malcolm and Leo if you answer. Hi, Malcolm. Hey, Leo. How are you? They're loving the show. And what's the best way to wash this? Philip would like to know. So, first of all, there is no TOG rating with silk. Now, you might say, yeah, but I've seen one. There are some places that sell silk products, and they probably just got so fed up with people asking about TOG ratings, they just made one up. There is no official TOG rating with silk, and the reason is because you can't measure it. Because the thing about silk, AAA grade silk, it regulates to your temperature. So it's not one temperature for all, it's the right temperature for the individual. So if you run hot, then you're going to be the right temperature for you. So you're going to be the right temperature, warm, but without overheating. And then if you've got somebody who is, let's say, got poor circulation or something like that, or is convalescing, and they run cold, they're going to warm up and be the perfect warmth without overheating for them. So let me just talk about washing as well. And then I also want to, Fraser, do remind me, please, would you, I'd like to talk about, what did I want to talk about? Sleep, toxic sleep. So washing, you can wash your pillows, really easy. You can wash your duvets. You can wash them as much as you like. Remember, 10-year guarantee with the duvet, 10 years. 2-year guarantee with the pillow. You can't take pillows back if you buy them from a bedding shop or a department store. As soon as you've opened them, they are not, you just cannot return them. You have a money-back guarantee with this and a 2-year guarantee if there's anything goes wrong with it. Right? You've got a 5-year guarantee on the pillowcases, which are 100% pure AAA grade Mulberry Silk front and back. And I'll do those in a minute. And you've got a 10-year guarantee on the duvet. But there are people who've had their duvets for 30, 40 years. They just keep going. I've had my pillow for 5 years, and they look every bit as good. And if you think this is all too good to be true, try a pillow first. I always say, give a pillow a go, because once you've slept on the pillow, the penny drops, and you go, oh, I get it now. And then you come back for the duvets. That would be my recommendation. But washing is very simple. You can wash all of these products. Now, the pillow, I've got just a regular 7.5 kilo front-loading washing machine. I know you can, there are these big, huge-sized drums that you can buy now. If you've got one of those, you could put 2 in. I put 1. I could stuff 2 into my 7.5 kilo machine, but I feel they're a bit smushed up. I want to give 1 freedom to move around and really soak up the suds, as it were. So I do 1 at a time. On a sort of a delicate wash, really. I don't do it on a cotton wash. I do it on just a sort of a standard synthetic wash. I'm just trying to think of what other kind of cycles you might have on washing machines. I generally only use 2. You don't want it on a harsh cotton cycle. Just do it on a delicates or a synthetics wash, and even though it's not synthetic. And you can use your regular laundry detergent. You can use powder. You can use gels. You can use liquids. You can use tablets. Whatever you like. Yes, you can use your favourite fabric softener. That wasn't easy to say, as well, if you wish. And you can either line dry them or you can tumble dry them on low. Or what I do is I live in a flat, so I have a clothes horse, foldable clothes horse or collapsible clothes horse. And I lay mine on the top. And a pillow, depends on the temperature in the flat. In the summer, they dry really quickly, about half an hour each side. I turn them after the one side's dry, I turn them over and the other side dries. And a little bit longer in the winter. And the duvets last, they dry in about, I don't know, half an hour to 45 minutes again, depending on the temperature. And I've got a Super King. So I'll double up my Super King duvet and lay it over the clothes horse so it doesn't drape on the kitchen floor, basically. Now, and by the way, if you forget any of that, you can see down here, I'm not going to move because I don't even know where it is, this label, but you can see it on the camera. All of the washing instructions are there. By the way, that there, rkuk.co.uk, that is RK Sales, the R and the K stand for Ray Kennedy. You may have seen him as our wonderful Glaswegian guest, gentleman in his 80s actually, who comes, and it's his company, RK Sales, and they have been the official distributors of Mulberry Silk, official Mulberry Silk products from the official Mulberry Silk Manufacturing Company Limited. For 67 years they've been in business, so they're a very trustworthy company. But that, you go to their website and you contact them, they'll have all their phone number and everything's all on there. If you ever want to, if let's say you're going to use your money back guarantee and you want to get your money back, you call them and they will give you every penny you've paid, except obviously the P&P, because we have to pay the postman. But they, as Ray always says, and he doesn't mind me doing this little impression of him, he says, "We will give you your money back with the same civility we took it from you." And so, look, you can try all of this before you decide whether you're going to keep them for the rest of your life. Now, one more email, and then I'm going to talk about sleep. There's so much to do. It's so much easier when you've got somebody here to answer the questions. Don't worry about that, Fraser. Sorry, I'm just answering my producer about something that's going to interrupt my flow. Lee Bum says, "Just wondering if the Mulberry Silk pillows are less susceptible to dust mites. All the best to your son in the hospital too." Thank you very much, Lee. Lee, not just less susceptible. These have the Allergy UK certificate of approval, and it says Mulberry Silk have been awarded the British Allergy Foundation seal of approval for the reduction in exposure to live house dust mite for their products. And by the way, this certificate has to be renewed every single year. You'll see that's current. Every single year, and they've had this renewed for every year for over 30 years. And it can also be taken away at any time. They can have inspectors that come in and check their manufacturing processes and practices, and if they're not satisfied, they can yank that approval. And it has been constantly, it's been on these products for 2-3 decades. So I don't actually remember, or I don't even know, I don't think, the exact number of years. Ray has mentioned it potentially in the past, but it's been a long time. So they are the only pillows and the only duvets that we know of, certainly the only duvets that have the Allergy UK seal of approval. They're the only duvet that we know of that is recommended or approved by the Allergy Board for being effective against dust mite. Dust mite, not just one dust mite, mites. Actually, there are millions of dust mites. When you buy a new pillow, there are already dust mites in it, potentially. It depends how it's been manufactured and how it's been sort of sealed in the manufacturing process. But at any given time, you've got about 1 million of these things, and they multiply very, very quickly. And then, of course, they die, and they don't cremate their dead relatives. The carcasses just, well, eventually turn to dust. But it's all happening in stuff you're sleeping on. So that's why they call it dust mites, because eventually they die and their bodies turn to dust. And that's what potentially you're breathing in. And actually it's the poo, it's the dust mite poo that is the allergen. So yes, you can steam bed products and help to kill dust mites, but these dust mites will never live here. A couple might venture in for a day, but they will not stay, because silk is an inhospitable environment for them. The director just said, easy for you to say. No, it wasn't. It really wasn't. So this is one thing that you can tick off. You never have to worry about dust mites. And that's why it's really important also that you use natural fibres like cotton or Egyptian cotton covers, so that you keep all of the properties of the temperature regulating properties. And I'll tell you a story and then I'll get on to sleep. So I tell this every time, and by the way, please, if you've tried these Mulberry Silk products and realised that everything I said was true, drop us an email, because I'd love the other people watching tonight to be able to hear your stories. Because in fact, I'm going to go to the sleep right now, and then I'll tell my story later, because this is important. You need to check out your baskets. We don't have a huge stock of the king size, the Super King or the single. By the way, I've got a story about the single that's going to save you money. I believe that the single will pay for itself in no time at all when you buy it. I'll come to that. Remind me, Fraser, would you write a little list of things I've got to talk about? Thank you. Sleep. Here's the issue. When you have any synthetic fibre, hollow fibre, any man-made fibre, it does not regulate temperature. It stores heat. So keep that in mind, right? any kind of feather product, whether it is duck, goose, whether it's little downy feathers, even if you paid ludicrous money for a really expensive down pillow or down duvet. Okay, both of those do not regulate temperature. Both of those trap and store heat. And also, they do not wick moisture. Like, you know, the Mulberry Silk wicks 30% of its weight, or up to, away from you, so it helps keep you dry. That you don't get that with synthetic, and you don't get that with feather. In fact, quite the opposite. They are almost, as I'm sure you'll agree, sweat-making machines, or sweat-making materials, right? So when you've got heat and moisture, what does that do? It breeds bacteria. If you've got any kind of synthetic or feather filling in your duvet or pillow, they are breeding grounds for bacteria. And when you've got heat and you've got bacteria, which is probably, I don't know, food to dust mites, and you've got moisture, it's just it's a holiday park for dust mites. Don't get that with these. It's just not even an issue, right? So, but here's the other thing. You can't wash I did once try it, but trust me, you can't wash a synthetic fibre pillow. It comes out of the washing machine and all of the fibre is all clumped up at one end. And also, you've had cheap pillows, I'm sure we've all bought them. How long do you have to sleep on them for? A couple of weeks, 2, 3, 4 weeks maybe? And the sweat that's got the heat and all of that kind of stuff, and they go flat, yeah? And then they start to get hard, right? And then what do? You throw them away. And then what do? You buy more of the same. And then the same, and so the cycle continues. How much money have you wasted on pillows? This could be the last pillow you ever need to buy. This could be the last duvet you ever need to buy. So from a purely financial standpoint, you're going to save a huge amount of money. No issues with the dust mites, no issues with the bacteria. You can machine wash them, and you've got a 2-year guarantee on a pillow. It's unheard of. So I'm going to talk about sleep, and then I'm going to we'll talk more about that. We're on the pillow now, aren't we? So let me tell you a story about the pillow, and then also a story. I want to cover sleep and why it's really important. In fact, I'm going to continue to do that now, because I've just been talking about all of the downsides of synthetic duvets and pillows, right? So with a duvet, what happens? You get under it, and be honest with yourselves. But at the end of the day, this is for you. It's not for me. I get paid to come in and talk, but I don't get a commission. I'm not making money out of with you buying these. So let's just have a conversation, right? What happens when you sleep under a synthetic duvet and you're in bed and you cover yourself up? What happens after a while? You get too hot, don't you? And what do? You take the duvet off. And then, maybe it's in the middle of the night, you know, probably the central heating is on now, but often it goes off in the night, doesn't it? And then you get too cold. So what do? You pull the duvet back on. But the trouble is you do that while you're asleep, or you wake up from being asleep in order to take the duvet off. So it's interrupted your sleep, and then your sleep's interrupted again when you put the duvet back on. And this goes on all night long. All night, all night, all night long. And that is what they call toxic sleep, because you have to get a proper, full, restorative, regenerative, healing night's sleep that allows you to recover from the wariness of the previous day and/or any potential illnesses you may have, and so on and so forth. You have to go through several layers or stages of sleep. Now, I'm not a sleep expert. Google's your friend if you want to find out more about it. But I think there are 6 or 7 of them. And that takes roughly about, I'm told, 90 minutes. If you get woken up in that 90-minute cycle, and this, by the way, that's why they always say if you don't have a chance to sleep a lot, try and sleep in multiples of 90 minutes, because then you'll wake up at the end of a cycle, not in the middle of one. That's when you feel really, really awful, right? So if you wake up in the middle of one because you're too hot, then what happens is you can't just carry on where you left off. You have to start all over again. And then you get woken up in the middle of the next cycle because you're too cold. And then you get woken up in the middle of the cycle after that because you're too hot. And so you're just you're never quite getting in to that deep, deep sleep that does what sleep's supposed to do. So you wake up and sometimes, and I'm sure you'll be honest enough to admit to yourself that this has happened to you. If it has, I presume it probably has happened to everybody. That you wake up and you think, oh, I've been in bed for 8 or 9 hours, but I feel like I haven't slept at all. Have you all had that? Everyone here had that? Yeah, right? And that's what's happening. It's toxic sleep. When you sleep under a Mulberry Silk Duvet, you will probably wake up in pretty much the same position that you fell asleep. You're not supposed to toss and turn. It's a myth. So I'm told by people who know about these things. And your covers should barely have moved. And honestly, when I sleep under my Mulberry Silk, if I fall asleep in a position, I wake up in that same position, generally speaking. Unless I wake up in the middle of the night needing a wee-wee. And then I go back to sleep, and then I'll wake up in the position that I've gone back to bed in after my wee. And that's how I know I'm getting a good night's sleep, because you never overheat. And this is the story I was going to tell you. And during lockdown, and apologies if you've heard this before. I know I tell the same story every time I do this show, but because it's a true story, and it's what got me to change my mind and try Mulberry Silk. So if you remember lockdown, I know we've all tried to forget it very, very hard. It was at the time when, if you recall, hotels closed. Do you remember that? Hotels, motels and such, they closed. And so I was working in Peterborough at the time. I live in London, but I was working in Peterborough for a different company that also broadcast a similar kind of show back in the day on ITV and STV. And it was -7 degrees. And really our CEO, who is the same CEO, doesn't, you know, that company's long sort of changed hands and gone in a different direction. But the CEO who is, well, the CEO of Shop on TV is the same CEO that we had at this other company at the time. And he had a choice to make. He had to make a business decision, which was, well, we can't put people, presenters and guests and such, people who are travelling from afar into hotels. So we either close the business, and they did seriously think about it, or we have to find an alternative. And so he found these things, and I really urge you, just if you want to laugh, have a Google of these. He found this company that made bunker bins. B-U-N-K, as in bunk bed, bins, B-I-N-S. And they were porter cabins for one. So they were about 6 feet wide, 7 feet deep, maybe 6.5, 7 feet high. And he put a row of these in the car park. And you walked in the front door, and on the left, there was sort of like a row of shelves with a little sort of dressing table. There was a microwave immediately on your left, all kind of built in sort of, you know. And then on the right-hand side, a little built-in counter with a fridge, admittedly a full-size under-counter fridge, but still, that was there. And then at the sort of the edge of the fridge, up to the back wall, was a single bed. And then there was a little wall with a doorway, and on the right-hand side was a tiny shower. I had to breathe in to get into it. And a little wee sink in front of you, and then on the left-hand side, a toilet, which had about 1 inch of cover or of clearance either side. I mean, I've got a fairly skinny bum, but I'm also quite a large bloke, so I couldn't use it. I couldn't fit. Or if I got in, I don't think I'd have gotten out. I'd probably still be there today. And they did have a sort of fan heating in these things, but it never worked, and it was rubbish. -7 degrees, and I'd been freezing my whatsits off. And I did a show with Ray Kennedy, the gentleman who owns RK Sales, which is the exclusive distributor of Mulberry Silk products in the UK, who supply us. That you can only buy these in 2 places. You can't buy them in the shops. You can either buy it from them or you can buy it from us, but they give us prices that are preferential, so lower than theirs, in other words. So this is the place to buy your Mulberry Silk. And so we did the whole show, and all the stuff I'm telling you now, which over the last 5 or 6 years, or 6 is probably, 6, even maybe nearly 7, no, 6 years, I've been hearing from him. I'm now regurgitating to you. And I thought, pull the other one. Really? Okay. No. So I said to him, all right, can I borrow a single duvet? And he said, sure. And he said, if you like it, you can buy it. And he probably offered me a money-back guarantee as well, knowing Ray. And so I was like, all right. So I took it back to my bunker bin, and I disrobed, with the exception of my boxers, and I got into my bed, and I was freezing. And I wrapped myself, you may say I cocooned myself in my single Mulberry Silk Duvet. And I got warm very quickly, 1 or 2 minutes up to temperature. I thought, oh, lovely, this is nice, this is nice. And I thought, yeah, it's going to get too hot in a minute. I'm going to overheat. Yeah, any minute, it's coming. I'm going to overheat. I'm going to overheat. And then I woke up 8 hours later, and I was in the same position I'd fallen asleep in. Still cocoon. I did not overheat, and I was still wrapped in the duvet. And I did this, and again, I apologise. I find this funny because I mentioned it a couple of weeks ago, and I said I did something funny under my duvet in the house in Warrington, because I still wake up, and it amazes me how these duvets and pillows work. It's Mother Nature at her best. It's still just like, I can't believe that. So I woke up one morning, and I was sitting. I'd stacked my 2 Mulberry Silk pillows, and I was sitting on a slight incline, and I had the duvet all around me. And I thought, and that's how I'd fallen asleep. And I had like half a glass of water, because I poured myself some water, and then you know when you sometimes do that and you pour a drink and then you fall asleep again before you've drunk it. And I was in the same position that I'd obviously fallen asleep in when I was sitting there to drink my water. And I didn't know what the temperature was outside. I had no clue, because I was the perfect temperature inside my duvet. So I pulled it off a bit at the end and stuck my leg out, and it was blooming freezing. I was quickly covered myself up again. And that's the thing, it doesn't matter what the temperature is outside. Silk, I mean, think about this. Mountaineers, you know, the people who climb K2 Everest, what is their very expensive thermal clothing lined with? Silk. People who work in Antarctica and places like the North Pole, the South Pole, very, very cold conditions. What do they wear? What's inside the clothes that they wear? What's the lining? It's silk, because of these very reasons. There's a reason for it. This is because it does what I've been telling you. Also, conversely, in places like India, what do women often wear? Mostly wear, I think. Saris. What are they made of? Silk. Silk helps to, now look, it's not gonna keep you cool like an ice cube. It will cool you off. It's not going to keep you cold. But in terms of keeping you warm, and this is the thing, it's really important that you understand here that the temperature is going to be right for you. And it will be different for everybody. And this is if you've got a king size or a super king size duvet and you're sleeping in the bed with somebody else, they are going to be the right temperature for them, even if they are very different in temperature to you. And you are going to be the right temperature for you. And this is why, actually, Ray always mentions this. They are highly recommended for people who are ladies going through the menopause. Because if you get those nights where you have those really, really horrific hot flashes, this is probably the duvet you're going to want to be under. Also, if you're bedbound or convalescing and so on and so forth. Just absolutely superb for that, we believe. Let me go through some more emails here. Can I please just suggest you check out, if you don't check out your basket, you are not going to benefit from all of the things that I've been telling you. And if you're not sure, try a pillow first. Check out on a pillow, get yourself a pillow. They're on a discount. And then, once you know that I'm actually talking sense, then you can always come back and get the duvets. Brian says, this pillow here we have, thank you, Brian, we have a little testimonial here. And these are genuine customers, by the way, who are emailing me tonight. studio@shopontv.co.uk if you have any questions or any comments you'd like to make. Brian said, this pillow allowed me to sleep after 10 years of insomnia. Buy this pillow now, is what Brian said. Brian, I had a little bout of insomnia for a while, and it's not fun, is it? Because you just like, I just want to go to sleep. It's horrific. And to be fair, the Mulberry Silk, I've never slept so well since I've had the Mulberry Silk product, honestly. That's why I rave about them. I've got so many sets. I've got 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. By the way, that single duvet that I talked about in the bunker bin, I've still got it to this day. Don't put the central heating on at home. If I'm sitting watching a film with David, or even by myself, and it's cold, instead of paying all that money for the central heating, and I don't have gas, so I've got 2 electricity bills, and it's very expensive, I just cover myself in the Mulberry Silk duvet. saves me a fortune. It saved me hundreds and hundreds of pounds. Still have it to this day. You know, if we're sitting there, it's quite cute, I suppose. Father and son sitting on the sofa watching a movie with a single duvet spread across them. That's what I would recommend. Why can't women make fibres? Oh, so why is everything man-made? And that's sleepy. Do you know what? I don't know your name, but you know what? I'm usually really careful, and I say synthetic fibre. But you're right. You're absolutely right. I do, and actually, most of the good stuff is woman-made. So I try not to say it anymore because you're absolutely right. It was, you know, I'm of that age where it was the phrase when I was growing up. So I totally agree with you, and I generally try to avoid it. I will ensure I say synthetic instead of man-made. Or I did start saying person-made, but that just sounds stupid, doesn't it? You know, why is it mankind? And you know, why is it menopause? Let's not get into that one. No. Let's just say you have my sympathies. Sarah says, are the pillows suitable for all sleep positions, i.e. front sleepers, side sleepers, back sleepers? Thanks. Sarah, I'm not an expert, but I'm kind of an all-rounder. And I find, yes, they are, because they have a nice loft to them. They're certainly great for a side sleeper. They've got enough, as you can see, as a profile. They're made to be the right sort of height to keep your head and head and spine aligned correctly. Back sleepers certainly, because I sleep on my back too, and actually I do sleep on my front some. Yeah, I do it all. I do it all, baby. So I would say yes. But look, you've got a money-back guarantee. It's very rare that I get to say you have an unconditional money-back guarantee. Get them. Try them, and if they're not suitable for you, then all you have to do is get in touch with RK Sales on the tag, and they will, obviously you'll have your order number and everything from Shop on TV. Make sure you keep that email, and they'll give you your money back, less the P&P. By the way, it is capped postage and packing, so per order you only pay that $4.95 once. So you could buy 2, 3, as many duvets as you like, you can buy as many pillows as you like. Sorry, actually you can only buy 3 pillows, I've just been told. It's just been limited to 3. Presumably 3 duvets as well. But you could always start another order if it came to it. But also you've got PayPal Pay in 3, so if you want to spread the cost, then you can select PayPal at checkout, and that includes your P&P, so that'll be your instalment per month for 3 months, including the P&P. But you can actually get approval for between anything from 30 to £2,000. So you'll go through a few basic questions with PayPal, and they'll whatever they approve you for, and you can use that balance to buy multiple items to cover your whole order, and maybe even come back and buy other stuff in the future. So if you want to do that, you can. It's why not give it a go? Worst case scenario, you can always come back and just pop it on your credit or debit card. PayPal is just online at shopontv.co.uk. You can call us though if you prefer to use the phone 0333 241 241. We take all major credit and debit cards. And by the way, this is for those who don't know who we are. Maybe you're watching for the first time on ITVX. We've been on ITV1 and STV for the last 2 years. We are your shopping show, your late night shopping show. It is a partnership with ITV and STV. We're not just somebody who snuck in the back door and turned on some cameras and tried to flog you some stuff. So we're governed by the same standards as ITV and STV themselves, Ofcom, advertising standards, etc. And so there's more governance for us than any shop and certainly any online store. So your money and your orders are safe. But also we're a company with real integrity, and we strive every night to bring you products at the best prices, and we most of the time, 99% of the time, we succeed. Every now and then we get the rug pulled out from under us by somebody who'll drop their prices last minute, and it messes us up, but it don't happen very often. So always check in every night between midnight and 3 a.m. We're always live. Check your electronic program guide what time we go live. And on ITVX, if you come in late, you can always then just you can click a button and it will take you back to the beginning of the show, and you never have to miss any of it. And also, by the way, we're on ITV1+1 and STV+1 as well, so if you get to closer to 3 a.m. and you want to watch the last hour of the show, then you can. Just always check the website for stock and availability, because it may have changed during the live show. Things do sell out. So please do check out now. I'm going to say this, and I mean this. A third of what? Of the pillow? Wow, we've just had a surge. I don't know where we're at with stock. The thing, I'll tell you this, right? So the thing about the Mulberry Silk company, they are such an honest company. They will only, and do only, offer you AAA grade, top of the range mulberry silk. I'll explain the AAA grade bit in a minute, actually. And because look, silkworms are living creatures, and their lives are cyclical, and they live at certain and grow and what have you at certain times of year. Silk is a plant that also is subject to cycles and when it grows and when it doesn't grow. So quite regularly, what happens is there aren't any worms, or there isn't any silk. And so, or there aren't any mulberry leaves. Sorry, did I say silk is a plant? I meant the mulberry leaves are a plant. Sorry, excuse me. Duh, silk's a plant. You didn't catch that phrase, did you? I meant the mulberry leaves are a plant. The mulberry leaves that the worms are fed on are a plant. That's what I was trying to say. And so, sometimes one or two of those things runs out, which means the silk supply stops. They stop production. They literally stop manufacturing. They don't sell you an inferior product. They don't go and sweep up some offcuts, because there aren't any offcuts. Because every single one of these cocoons is 100% full length, anything from 1 to 2 miles. So they take they put these in warm water. So what happens? Let me go back to the beginning. A silkworm. If you feed a silkworm on mulberry leaves, you get very high quality silk. There are red, white and black mulberry leaves. If you feed them on red or black, you get very high quality silk. If you feed them exclusively on white, you get AAA grade. Now they're rarer, they're not as abundant, it's probably more expensive, I don't know, but that basically means that not all silk is the king of silks, but AAA grade mulberry silk is, and that's because it's the worms are fed exclusively on the white mulberry leaves. And then when they get ready to turn into a moth, they spin these cocoons, and you can see they are wonderful, pure, brilliant white. And you can see that they're very, very thin fibres. Now, after about 30 to 40 days, when the cocoon is sort of ready, they are immersed in tepid water, and the cocoons, they literally unravel in one complete, unbroken line. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. If you're asking what happens to the worm, it doesn't make it, in the same way the cow doesn't make it when you eat a steak. So if that's a problem for you, I'm just being honest with you. If not, then that's what happens. So they take the full length of these fibres and they weave them together into threads. So each fibre is 1 to 2 miles long. So when they're woven into threads, they are then anchored. They're stitched to the top of a long-fibre Egyptian cotton sheet. And they all dangle, right? And then they're kind of woven around, concertinaed around, and locked into place, stitched into place using these box cassettes that you can see on the duvet, right? And then stitched all the way around the outside, so that they can't move around. So there are, depending on the size of your duvet, there are 8,000 or 9,000 of these. In a pillow, there are 3,000 to 5,000. Again, well, the pillow's one size. I think it's 3,000 or 4,000. It depends. They vary in size, and you're looking at sort of like 8 or 9. Hang on, is it about 8 or 9 miles? Several miles anyway, of threads, of full-length mulberry silk threads in a duvet, and several miles to 3 or 4 miles inside a pillow. And the pillows have got a fibre core, which is for stability, and also so they always keep their shape, like that, right? They never lose their shape, in my experience. So the fibre core, yeah, that's the only non-natural bit, but that's purely for support. But of course, around the outside of this, all the way along the length of the pillow are miles and miles of AAA grade mulberry silk. And the next time you see our video for the duvet, you'll see all of the products, except the pillows, have a little vanity window, so you can see and feel the fibres. Now, you've got to be really careful when it comes to buying mulberry silk products. Sorry, not mulberry silk product. Silk or mulberry silk, because there are companies that purport to sell mulberry silk. There are companies that may genuinely be selling mulberry silk. But here are the caveats. Here are the things to watch out for. And here are the things that you never have to worry about when you buy this from us now, because you know you are getting 100% pure mulberry silk inside, AAA grade, and you've got 230 thread count, long fibre Egyptian cotton on the outside. That's all there is, and the pillow is only slightly different in that it's got the core in the centre. Sometimes mulberry silk, about 40% of the stock gone now of the pillow. Actually, the pillow could sell out. I told you the penny drops and then people start checking out. What was I going to say? What was I saying, Fraser? Oh yeah, sorry. Be careful what you buy, because something might say it's mulberry silk, and it may very well be. Check what percentage of mulberry silk is actually in the product. Ray's son Martin went to a very, very famous department store in Glasgow and saw a mulberry silk duvet for sale. And it was a king-size duvet, and it was 500 and something pounds. And when he looked at the label, it had something like 12 or 13% mulberry silk, and the rest was mystery fibre. Or quite often what happens, you do get fakes, because the silk industry is such a lucrative industry. You get some of the sort of the ne'er-do-wells who will polish cotton to make it look like silk. It's not. So, and also you'll find a lot of the time, the silk, if you do get either, if it's good quality silk or if it's purported to be mulberry silk, it may not be AAA grade, and it may be offcuts as well, maybe little bits, leftover bits. These, you're always guaranteed, every single fibre that is in your duvet or your pillow is entire cocoons in their full length as they've unravelled, literally between 1 and 2 miles long, woven together into threads and wrapped, literally just festooned inside your products. Let me talk about long fibre cotton as well, because I didn't know what long fibre cotton was until I started doing these shows. And there's a big difference, actually. So short fibre cotton is picked by machine. Cotton is a plant, by the way. That's what I was thinking of earlier. Sorry, it's been a long week. I haven't been home for 3 weeks. I'm actually driving home after the show tonight, so through the night to London. And so, so when it's picked by machine, it tends to be very brittle and not hugely soft. Whereas long fibre cotton is hand-picked. And when it's hand-picked, it doesn't go through the same stress as the machine process. And so it's obviously the fibres are longer, but also they are softer, more malleable, and there's generally better quality. So, and just make sure if you put any kind of pillowcase, and standard pillowcases will fit on this, or any kind of duvet cover, standard duvet covers will fit on the duvet sizes. It has to be at least cotton, but I really recommend you get Egyptian cotton. The outer cover on these is 230 thread count. Everything over 200 is considered luxury. And you can get it everywhere, and it sounds expensive, but it's not. So I paid 15 quid on Amazon for a 300 thread count Egyptian cotton fitted sheet, and about 25 for a king-size duvet set which had 2 pillowcases. They have them in Dunelm. They have some higher end ones also in Dunelm that are a bit more. They're like maybe sort of 20 for a fitted sheet and 30 or 40, maybe for the duvet sets. So it depends what your budget is. But even on a small budget, you can still get Egyptian cotton, and I would highly recommend it. Please never, ever, 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 ever put any kind of synthetic fibre on your mulberry silk products, because it will block their properties. I'm going to do some emails, and then I will go back and recap. And actually, I'm sorry, didn't get to this yet. Get the pillows flying. Try at least one pillow. Look, if you've been listening to what I've been saying tonight, and I know I've covered a lot, and it's just me sitting talking to a camera. No scripts. I'm literally just, it's just off the cuff, saying the first thing that comes into my brain. Well, maybe not the first thing. But I hope you've got the gist of the fact that this is not about it's not even about the silk. It's not even about the pillow or the duvet. It's not even about you having a better night's sleep. It's about quality of life, isn't it? I said right at the start of the show, if you were watching, that I would transform your life today and for the better. And I am telling you for a fact that in my experience and in the 5 plus nearly 6 years now that I've been sleeping on or under mulberry silk products, I've never slept better. I never used to sleep very well, and even when I thought I did. And what do we say when we have a bad night's sleep? We get up and we say, oh, I slept funny. We blame it on ourselves. You know, you spend roughly a third of your life in bed. And yet we spend, I mean, maybe you're different, maybe you're smarter than I am, but I would do spend copious amounts of money on things to keep myself comfortable and happy while I'm awake. But then I always used to skimp and scrape on what I spent for the bedroom. And that's where I spend a third of my life. So, you know, cheap mattresses, cheap duvets, cheap pillows. I mean, they reckon that, I forget whether there was a study that was done or an article, you'd have to Google it, but the gist was that if everybody in the country or in the nation could return their pillow, that more than 60% would. I think it's about right. I think it'd be higher. Are you happy with your pillow? If you've got a synthetic pillow, a person-made pillow, or anything that's got a feather product in it, a feather filling, are you really happy with that? Do you really like it? I bet most of you'd say, well, no, not really, but you know, what's the alternative? Huh? Godoy. And the fact that, I mean, the thing is, until I did these shows, there wasn't an alternative. I didn't know any better. I didn't know what I didn't know. But now I do know what I do know, and I'm sharing that with you. When you know there's a better alternative, if you don't take it, then you can't, I guess you just have to accept what you've got, right? But it's such a simple, easy change to make. 40 quid and you've got a pillow. There was a gentleman, Brian, who for 10 years had insomnia, bought a Mulberry Silk pillow, and he finally fell asleep. I mean, I've missed a couple of, I mean, that is amazing, 10 years. And these are the sorts of story that I hear all the time with Mulberry Silk. It is transformative, this stuff, it really is. And it's such a simple product, you know, it's a duvet and a pillow, for crying out loud. But Joe says, I ordered silk pillows the last time you had them on, aha. My partner used to snore so terribly, and since having them, I sleep so wonderfully. You can really tell the difference. Thank you so much, Shop on TV, it's genuinely been a blessing. Joe, thank you very much. I really appreciate that. Thank you for sharing the wealth and the knowledge and the experience with other people. I hope that we'll get some other people sleeping better after maybe years of insomnia or snoring. I mean, look, we're not guaranteeing they're a snoring solution, but evidently they can help. Simon and Penny, hi Simon and Penny, how are you? Say, thanks for your great work, Rob. Oh, I appreciate that. We started off with the king size, but upgraded to the Super King for the drape. Oh, and find it hard to get out of bed in the morning. That is the only downside. That is the only downside. The king size was relegated to our caravan, and don't get me started on the pillows, as I do not have head sweats anymore, and will be buying more of these bad boys. Thank you so much. And by the way, if you've just tuned in, you're like, what are you talking about? Head sweats? But I'll cover as quickly as I can, all of the super benefits of Mulberry Silk in a minute. Super King, what now? Oh, we've only got half the stock of the Super King left. So if you want the Super King, and again, if you've got, and the same with the single actually, if you've got a king-size bed and you want that hotel drape, get the Super King. Treat yourself to the Super King. It's always good. And then if you ever upgrade the bed to a Super King bed, you've already got it, right? Asana, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, says, please show how the pillow works. I've only used futons in the past. I think you just put your head on it. I don't really know how to do that. I mean, you take your head and you do that. I apologies if I've misunderstood what you mean there. Do feel free to clarify. Lily says, watch you every night. My favourite presenter. Oh, can you wish my friend Kate happy 18th birthday? Yes, I can. Then also, no, I'm just kidding. Kate, hi Kate, how are you? Happy birthday. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Kate. Happy birthday to you. Show idea, prison escape TV game show. Rob Locke's Lockdown. Got money written all over it. Love the show. Thank you, Alex, and is that Arnie? Well, if you want to write the show, I'm available to present it. I did a show during lockdown called Unlocked, well, just after lockdown, called Unlocked, which we did on YouTube, 8 episodes, and which was live from our previous studio, actually. I'd love to do it again, but it's always having the money to do these things, isn't it, really? If there's anyone very wealthy watching and wants to see the show come back, we could probably do it for TV now, actually, as well. Johnny said, this pillow actually let me wake up well-rested for my poor job. Worth it. I mean, it's such a simple thing. Please check out your baskets. We're running out of stock on all kinds of things here. It's such a simple thing, but as I say, if you live to 90, you've spent 30 years of your life in bed. Make it count. But also the 30 years you spend in bed informs the quality of the other 60 years you live in bed, or that you're not in bed, rather. So this is not so important for your sleep. It's more important for when you're awake, because the quality of your sleep is going to dictate how good the quality of the time you have when you're awake is going to be as well. So it just is a transformative product, and it's just one of these things. It's kind of like a best kept secret, really. I mean, well, having said that, in China and India and places like that, they've been sleeping on silk for years. But I was saying about how 60% of people would return their pillows if they could. Well, when this pillow was first made a few years ago, in the first year, 86,000 people bought it. 86,000. And out of all of the 86,000 that were sold, 19 individual pillows were returned, which is something like 0.0001 something % return rate. That's how good they are. Now, I do apologise. I know I tend to rabbit on when I've got 3 hours on my own. I just kind of. Is it 1:40? Is that all it is? Oh, blimey! I'm only halfway. Okay, but welcome if you've just tuned in. But when I'm going on like I do, I sometimes forget to mention this little beauty. This is pure, complete mulberry silk, triple A grade mulberry silk, and nothing else. Well, actually, that's not strictly true. It is. I'm doing a magic trick now. See, it's on the front and it's on the back. You see? Now, what I'm going to do, I'm going to take this green pillowcase this blue pillowcase that looks green, that's been dyed green. And so have you ever seen that Tommy Cooper bit? He did something like that. I'm going to take this handkerchief that's dyed this colour. Anyway, yeah, so this is the sage green. It is front and back, and it is absolute luxury. Now, the one thing you'll notice when you look inside is it's got a slightly matte finish, and it also a slightly coarser texture. Well, you know why that is? The Mulberry Silk Company have thought of everything. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, what they have done is they've actually created, it's quite a complicated process. They have sprayed cotton inside. Why? Because, as the saying goes, silk is, well, smooth. And so if you put a pillow inside, then the silk will kind of ruche. Is that the word? Ruche. And that then can transfer lines to your face, which we don't want that. So not only does it help keep the pillow or the pillowcase on the pillow, so it doesn't go firing out when you put your head down on it, but also it keeps it nice and flat and looking superb on the pillow when it's in situ. But again, it is 100% pure AAA grade mulberry silk front and back. And ladies and gentlemen, we have these beautiful colours. So there is the sage green. We have the desert, which is that sort of sandy colour. We have the beautiful white, which is the favourite always. And then we have that wonderful Arctic blue as well. The other great thing, of course, that you'll know about silk, or may know about silk, or have heard about silk, is that it does have certain properties that are beneficial, potentially, to one's skin and one's hair. I encourage you to do your own research on that. We haven't tested any of our pillowcases for the efficacy of one of their amino acid contents, which is called sericin. But there is lots of clinical evidence out there about sericin and also about pure silk. And as these are pure silk, one could deduce, potentially, that there would be a link somewhere between the two. So they're literally the best quality pillowcase that I'm aware of that you can buy. AAA grade, top quality Mulberry Silk. And they are divine. They really, really are. So, I mean, look, get yourself a pillow, get yourself a pillowcase. If you don't go for this pillowcase, then just make sure whatever pillowcase you put on it is a natural fibre. I always recommend Egyptian cotton because it's not expensive to get an Egyptian cotton pillowcase, but you have to allow, it has to be a breathable material like the Egyptian cotton that's on the silk and the silk itself. If you put anything like, you know, that's non-breathable onto silk, then all of the reasons that you've spent your money tonight or this morning to buy Mulberry Silk are lost. It's not getting through. It can't penetrate through the synthetic exterior that you've cocooned it in. So always, and again, standard pillowcases, standard duvet covers. But that's why we always offer these. And we will have Egyptian cotton duvet covers in the matching colours soon, probably next year. They're only £35 as well. And they also have a wonderful satin stripe on them. I've seen the samples and they are very, very nice. And again, PayPal, pay in 3. So if you want to put yourself a pillow, a pillowcase, if you can get the duvet. Again, I want to remind you, if you've just tuned in, you have an unconditional money-back guarantee with everything on the show tonight. The bedding, the Mulberry Silk bedding. And that's, again, that's not even through, even though we have a refund policy at Shop on TV, that is directly from Arcade Sales. And you'll find that there's a tag on every bedding product, and that has their website on it. You can use their website to get their phone number and contact them, and they will refund your money in full, less the P&P, because you know that we deduct that and we have to pay the postman. So you have absolutely everything to gain, and what you have to gain more than anything else is a great night's sleep. You know, you're more productive when you've slept well, aren't you? You feel better when you've slept well. You know, maybe work just seems a little easier. Driving, or, you know, they say if you're operating heavy machinery or if you're driving, tiredness can kill. I'm going to be driving back at 3 o'clock in the morning to London. I won't get back till about 7:30 in the morning. I see the signs all the time. Tiredness can kill. If I hadn't had a good night's sleep, I wouldn't even risk it. But I sleep under Mulberry Silk duvets and on Mulberry Silk pillows, and also I've got the cocoon mattresses too. I'm all Mulberry Silked up, baby. But if you've just tuned in, allow me to do a little recap, if I may? Oh, come here. So, Mulberry silk is a type of silk. It is regarded as the finest silk that money can buy. There are different grades of it. AAA grade is the finest quality in all of the world, and that is the AAA grade Mulberry silk is achieved by feeding silkworms on white mulberry leaves exclusively. The worms grow in China. They live in China. That's where the mulberry leaves grow. They feed them exclusively on nothing else but a diet of white mulberry leaves, of which they eat an awful lot. And then when they cocoon themselves to these little cocoons, the cocoon itself is silk. They spin silk. And that cocoon is to protect them and keep them the right temperature, a regulated temperature. It can be extremely hot outside, and it can also be extremely cold outside. It can be extremely dry outside. It can also be extremely wet, you know, in monsoon season and things like that. And also they have to be strong because they don't want people coming along and opening up the cocoons and having the little worm for dinner. And many things try. So that's, you know, it's protective and also it's life regulating. There's not a thermostat inside. The worm doesn't have a little heater if it gets too cold, or a fan if it gets too hot. It all has to happen in a totally, completely, and utterly enclosed space. And those properties of silk are what then now are available to you in your bedding. Mulberry silk is naturally temperature regulating. It will keep you warm in the winter, and it will help to keep you cool in the summer. And it doesn't have a TOG rating because it doesn't heat up to a specific level. And this is, it's kind of a bit of sort of, I suppose, nature's secret, really. I don't know. Maybe there are scientific explanations for it. I'm sure there are. But you reach a certain temperature, which is your personal ideal temperature. And beyond that, you don't get any hotter. You never overheat, that I've ever experienced, under mulberry silk, ever. So that means that if you're somebody who's naturally very hot in bed, then, I don't know what that was, then you'll get to just the right temperature. I mean, literally, it's Goldilocks syndrome. You'll get to just the right temperature, and then that's where you'll stay. And if you're somebody that's naturally very cold in bed, you'll get to your ideal temperature, and that's where you'll stay. And you could be sleeping side by side. You know, you could have three in a bed, and the little one would have said, I'm the perfect temperature, thanks very much. And so would the other two. Honestly, that's one of the main selling points of using silk or having silk in your bedding. The other big one is that they wick, silk, mulberry silk wicks away about 30% of its weight in moisture. So it helps to keep you dry. When you sweat, it literally wicks away that extra moisture, keeping you dry. So with a pillow, that's quite useful. I bet you've woken up with a synthetic pillow or a feather pillow, and you've got wet hair. When it's too hot, you've sweated, right? And your head's hot and it's wet. So you turn the pillow over to the dry side and the cool side, and you try again. And then you wake up again a little bit later. And again, every time you do this, apart from the fact you're doing playing Catherine wheels with your pillow, you're waking up all the time. You're breaking your sleep, and you're not supposed to do that. You need to sleep consistently for at least 90 minutes to get a full cycle of regenerative, restorative, recuperative, healing sleep. And every time you break that because you wake up because you're too hot or you're too cold, which with duvets, it's duvet off, duvet on, duvet off, duvet on. And then, that just means that no matter what you do, unless you're very lucky, if you've slept, and I mean this genuinely, folks, I'm not saying this to exaggerate, this is not hyperbole or what have you here. If you have only ever slept on or under a bedding product that contains hollow fibre, synthetic fibre, or any kind of feather product, you have not ever slept properly. I mean, really, at least that I'm confident in saying that. Maybe there are one or two who just happen to wake up in between cycles every single time. I don't know. The chances are almost, you'd probably be struck by lightning before that would happen. And the fact is, you never knew, did you? And isn't it refreshing to finally know, oh my God, I didn't realise that. I was the same. And then it was like, but with this, no sweating, no overheating, no dust mites. This is the other thing. They reckon that at any given time, in a pillow, there are at least 1 million dust mites. And and the thing is that they replicate rapidly, like bunny rabbits. And then also they die. And they don't get sort of taken out the pillow and buried in the garden. They stay in the pillow. And eventually the carcasses, like we all do, turn to dust. But they eat, and what passes through their bodies and out the other end is also in your pillow or your duvet. And also, have you got nasty niffs coming from your duvet? Well, that's probably because if it's synthetic fibre or if it is a feather product, it gets hot, it gets moist. What are heat and moisture perfect for? Breeding bacteria. They are literally, that is where bacteria just love to go on vacation in the summer. And then also the dust mites, they set up shop in there and you try and get rid of them. Silk is too dry, well, first of all, because of the moisture wicking and the temperature regulation, but also it's just a very arid environment for them. And so that means that dust mites just don't set up shop in silk naturally. They might wander in, a couple of them, but then they go, oh, blimey, don't like it here, and they get out pretty quick. It's like us living in the Sahara Desert. We don't, because we can't live there. We can't exist there, not naturally anyway. People die in deserts after very, very short periods of time, right? If they don't have water or food, water particularly. And so you've got products that are absolutely superb when it comes to being hypoallergenic. You've also got quality here. The quality is unparalleled. 100% long fibre, AAA grade Mulberry Silk. Again, each of those fibre, your duvets, all the duvets have a little zipper on them like that you can open up, a little vanity window. They're 100% breathable. You never overheat. You never get sweaty or clammy. You always stay at really what you would consider to be the ideal temperature for you, which is why if you are going through the menopause, I'd be trying one of these before you try anything else, because I don't actually think there is anything else that will be helpful or useful. And again, you've got an unconditional money-back guarantee to test them before you decide to keep them. Yeah, you're paying your money up front, but you'll get it back. And also, this pillow, I assure you, I've worked out, and this is me being cynical. To be honest, I would be cynical, but what's the point? No, to be cynical, I think that there is a reason that those synthetic pillows, 2 for 10 quid or 4 for £20, why they're stacked up in department stores and bedding shops. First of all, they cost pennies to make, and so the profits on them is huge. But also, the minute you open them, you can't return them. Honestly, you literally, you could peel open a package in the shop with the salesperson looking right at you. And so that they would know straight away, I don't know why I've gone Australian, that you've not slept on that at all. But you've opened the package. That immediately invalidates the ability, as far as I'm aware, unless there are some shops that I know out there that will do this, but I'm not aware of any. All the main stores, they will not allow you to return it. You can't get your money back. That's it, full stop, period, the end. So what do you do? If they're rubbish, and let's face it, they're probably rubbish, you throw them away. I always tell this story. When I first moved back to I don't know if you know this, I lived in the States for 16 years. And then when I came back, I had nothing. I had to get a flat, and it had nothing in it, no furniture, not a sausage. And so I went to a bedding shop, and it's a very good bedding shop. I've just bought my new Ottoman beds from there, so I won't have a bad word said against them in terms of their bed frames. But in terms of mattresses and pillows and bedding, they should sell something like this, I think. But the fact is that when I was buying my mattresses and all of that nearly 8 years ago, 2018, when was that? 7 years ago. They had a thing, 4 pillows for 20 quid. I thought my Christmases and birthdays had come at once. So I bought them, and when I got them home, and now I've turned it to Chris Barry, very enthusiastically opened them, and I put one on the bed, and I laid my head down. And, oh crikey, what that? I think I might need another one. So I put 2. Oh yeah. So all 4 of these things, and my head still almost touched the bed, but then all of this, the massive amount of rubbish all curled around my head. It was instantly like because I'm a bit hot-headed, got hot, and I was like, they were so uncomfortable. I was furious with myself that I'd wasted 20 quid. That's 2, maybe 3, depending on where you're from. Good pints of Guinness, that. Other stouts are available. And I just thought, oh my. And so I put them under my Ottoman bed and thought, well, I'll save them if David has friends around or if we have guests or anything like that. And then when we did, even they wouldn't sleep. They're like, haven't you got anything better? And so what do I do? I threw them away. Every year, millions of pillows go into landfill. These pillows, they are the perfect loft, or an ideal loft. I mean, perfect is hard to define, really, isn't it? They never lose their shape. They will never have colonies of dust mites living in them. You can machine wash them over and over and over. I wash mine it depends, in the summer every month, because I sweat and they get sweat marks on them. And even though I'm always dry, they still can stain the outside. But I use a whitening gel that's safe for silk, and I just use regular detergent, 30-degree wash. And that's it. I actually use a liquid that goes in the front of the machine. And I do one at a time. You could get 2 in a regular machine. 30 degrees, like I said, and you can tumble dry them as well if you want to. But I put them on my clothes horse and just let them dry naturally. And they're great, you know, if you've got people who are convalescing or if you know, elderly and maybe, yes, they do need washing regularly. If someone's been sick in the household, like my son's just sounds like he's just got a chest infection because they had to be carted off. He's asthmatic, so he had to be carted off to the A&E so that they can make him breathe again, which apparently is quite an important thing to do. And so he's all right, though, don't worry. Well, I assume. I haven't heard anything otherwise. Or if you've got kids and if they're sick, if they wet the bed, or you know they have an accident or something, or you're just sitting there and with your duvet or something, you know, having a cup of coffee or a hot chocolate or I don't know, something else in bed, and you get a bit of a stain. They wash absolutely beautifully. They really, really do. And the thing is that you've also got a 2-year guarantee on every pillow. I mean, not just a money-back guarantee, because you do. So you can try this, but you can take this now. And you'll get it, what day are we today? Sunday morning, technically, right? So these will go out, they'll be shipped tomorrow, Monday. And they always go out, 48 hours tracked at minimum, sometimes 24. But by the middle of the week, you could very well be sleeping on your Mulberry Silk pillow, where they usually arrive very quickly. And you'll know in your first night, I mean, tell me if I'm wrong, or tell me if I'm right. And the first night you sleep on one, you just know you're sleeping on something different. It's a totally different experience. Now, if you can afford the duvet and the pillow, you've just transformed your sleep. And you'll wake up a different person. You will. And these, again, the prices, the duvets have got a 10-year guarantee and an unconditional money-back guarantee. So you can try... Oh, we're getting a bit worried about the duvets now, actually. Only 30% left of the Super King. If you want the Super King... Get it now. Are we down to single figures yet now on the Super King? We're almost at single figures on the Super King, and we're almost at single figures on the single as well. The single, so it's 139 for the single, 179 for the double. The King is 199 and 219 for the Super King, right? But they've got a 10-year guarantee. Now, let's just say, for argument's sake, that after 10 years, they just disintegrated into dust. That's not going to happen, by the way. People have had, there are lots of people out there who've had their Mulberry Silk duvets for 20, 30, 40 years. The owner of the company himself has had his for 37. So even if it was 10 years, then 10 years, you're looking at £1.39 a year in duvet costs for the single, £179 a year for the double. The King is £199 a year, and the Super King £219. I don't think you can even buy a coffee for £2.19, can you? On a day, for a day. But for a whole, that's what it would cost you, essentially. That's what your duvet's costing you, aggregated over 10 years. £2.19 a year. By the way, for single, double, King, Super King, works out 4, 5, 6 and 7 pence a day. I mean, is that right? £2.19 a year. No, it's got to be less than 4. Can you work that out, please, Fraser? So £1.39 divided by 365, right? It works out for a day. 1.39 divided by 365. Oh, it's 0.00434. So I don't know how I worked out it was 4, 5, 6 and 7 pence. I think I had a producer that wasn't very good at maths. It's fractions of a penny a day. It really is. Or maybe 4, 5, 6 and 7 was per month or something like that. I don't know. But anyway, it's nothing. It's negligible. It costs you more to boil a kettle, I would imagine. And so the fact is that now you're going to sleep better. And they are all machine washable. They all the products carry the Allergy UK seal of approval. The Allergy Board, they don't give this out easily, you know. The only duvet in the nation that we know of that actually has the Allergy UK seal of approval. And you can see that it is... in fact, you go ahead and read it out for it. There we are. Let's have a little look. So, sorry, I'm just trying to see if I can read it here. Mulberry Silk has been awarded the British Allergy Foundation seal of approval for reduction in exposure to live house dust mite for their products. And by the way, that's for Canada, USA, UK, Ireland, the EU, New Zealand and Australia. All of those countries. Now, those countries, if you try to align the politics with all those and the regulations with all those countries, I don't think there'd be many things that would be agreeable and sort of cross-pollinating. So to have approval and and recommendation and all and what have you that comes with this across all of those nations is extraordinary. That's because of the quality of these products. I mean, they are absolutely exceptional. They honestly are. And what have I covered? Machine washable, temperature regulating, 30% of their weight they wick away in moisture or sweat. Guarantees I've covered. Allergy UK I've covered. Full-length fibre, 100% full-length fibre. Each Mulberry Silk fibre is 1 to 2 miles long. They're probably 8 or 9 miles, depending on the size of your duvet, on the larger duvets. And you've got 3 or 4 miles of silk in your pillow. I mean, they help you sleep better at the end of the day. That's really what it's all about, isn't it? Arvin, hello Arvin, how are you? Says, I love the show and your enthusiasm so much. You're welcome. I'm looking for a new pillow as mine is goose down. Ooh, is silk much better? Appreciate your thoughts. Arvin, let me put it like this. Is silk better than goose down? Yes! Oh, yes! Yes! Yes. Well, that was a bit Brian Blessed, that, wasn't it? Yes! 60% horses! Oh, yes, it's right, I mean, it's night and day. I suppose it depends when you sleep. So here's the thing with sleep, right? Okay, let me tell you about sleep. There are certain environmental considerations that you need to take into, well, consideration. First of all, it's all about dulling the senses, the art of sleep. So first of all, you need to have a dark room because we human beings work on what is called the circadian rhythm, which means we are programmed biologically to be awake when the sun is up and asleep when it ain't. Unless you work in shopping on a shopping show, in which case you just generally don't sleep at all. It's actually excluded from our contracts that we're not permitted to sleep ever again. No, but also, so that's really important. So what I do actually is it cost me £10 on Amazon, a sleep mask, and not just like the ones you get on planes that are flimsy, but this has got like a padded rim on the inside. It's a really good quality and a good big elastic band, and so it clings to your face and seals all of the areas where light would get in, but you can still open your eyes and blink and all that kind of stuff. It's really comfortable, and that solves the issue. When I put that mask on with my Mulberry Silk, it's like I just off to Neverland. So temperature, one thing, or light rather, is one thing. Temperature is the other thing. Now, I would maintain if you've got central heating on and Mulberry Silk, you're possibly wasting your heating bill, because unless it got down to like Arctic conditions, I mean, I don't have my heating on in the... Well, I do. I tell you why I do. So my radiator, I've got 2 radiators in my room. At home, I don't do this at all. But in the HMO where we have our crew house, I've got 2 radiators because I've got the top floor which kind of spans the length of the house, this terraced house. And I turn one off completely, and I have one. Currently, as I'm going home, I've set it down to 1, but I normally keep it on 2. And it's 2. I don't know if you know those little thermostats on radiators that have the green numbers and then the red numbers. So I've got it on green number 2. And I do that so there's just a little bit of warmth, and that's in the kitchenette area and next to the loo, so that if I wake up in the night and have to come out from my Mulberry Silk duvet, I'm not freezing my bum off going to the loo. It just keeps the room at a slightly, I wouldn't say warm, but not cold temperature, and kind of like an average room, neutral room temperature, right? Like 18 degrees, something along those lines. But you don't need to crank, once you've got your Mulberry Silk, you don't need to crank the central heating on, because now it would help cool you down if it was really hot in the room, but you're much better off with Mulberry Silk turning the heating down to low. If you want a little bit of ambient heat, again, if for when you wake up and, so you're not freezing. But when you're under your duvet, you wouldn't even know. Once you reach the perfect temperature, you wouldn't know what the temperature was outside. As I say, when I woke up the other morning, I literally stuck my foot out because I didn't know it, and it was freezing. I had no clue because I was in my Mulberry Silk. So your Mulberry Silk, I genuinely believe, and for me, it has, absolutely, in fact, saved me a fortune in my heating bill, because I very rarely put my heating on. And if I do, it's on very low. So really, I think your products are going to pay for themselves in the money that you save with the heating. So that's my recommendation. So light, temperature. Now, Noise is a big one. The one thing I can't really help you with is noise. We had a horrible barking dog at the HMO, and I live on a main road in London. So, well, not actually on the main road. Let's just say next to the main road. and I've kind of got used to it now. It's almost like white noise. But noise is important. You want to try and keep the room as quiet as possible. And the other thing, and this is a thing a lot of people forget, one of your strongest senses is actually your sense of smell. And so if you've got pungent smells in the room, and if you sleep next to your husband, then maybe those are intermittent. Although ladies do that too. But generally, this is why aromatherapy oils and things like that, like lavender and such, are recommended for nighttime, because smell you can be awake and not sleeping and think, well, what's going on? What's the problem here? And it turns out that there's a smell in the room. So smell, noise, light, temperature are the environmental factors. But if you've got Mulberry Silk, you can eliminate the environmental factor immediately just by turning your heating down and using what the silk does, the properties of the silk, and then you will be at just the right temperature for you. And you can have two different people sleeping in the bed who like different temperatures, and each of you will experience the right temperature for you. I mean it, honestly, you will. You might think I'm talking out of where the sun don't shine, but I assure you, I'm not. Hey Jim, how you doing? Hey Rob, researched while listening to you and invested in the duvet and 2 pillows. Going to hold you to the guarantee. Please do. Years on pillow. Oh, sorry. 2 years on pillow. Yes, and 10 years on duvet. If you're wrong, no. The Arcade Sales and the Mulberry Silk Company, these come with a 2-year guarantee and a 10-year guarantee on the duvet. Absolutely no question of that. And then you have a money-back guarantee on all of it as well. So, I mean, technically, usually those are about 30 days. They don't really stipulate, Arcade Sales, the distributor of these, the supplier essentially, they don't really stipulate an exact period of time for the guarantee, because you'll know within a couple of days whether you like it or not, or I should say you'll know in a couple of days, a few days, that you like it. And then, if you're going to send it back, you're either going to send it back straight away or you're not going to send it back at all, and usually it's the latter. So, but you can't, they're literally, their information, their website is on the tag, it's rksales.co.uk. They'll have a phone number on their website that you can, there it is, I'll show you, that's it there, you can write it down now if you want to. You can also verify, always single figures on the Super King size. Now, you can also verify that their prices are more than ours, but they do sell these directly, but they are more expensive. They give us and you, the Shop on TV customer and viewer, a special discount. That's the benefit of shopping with us. But you get in touch with, if you have any issue ever, 2 things, no, not just 2, several things are going to happen here. Number 1, you're going to talk to a human being. Now, I know, steady. I know it's weird. But there is no AI chatbot or text box or, you can call them and a real person will answer the phone. And a really nice person will answer a phone as well. And if you've got any issue, now look, if you take a kitchen knife to your pillow and say, I want a refund, they might not be as sympathetic. But if you've got any other legitimate issue, or if you just don't like the product, you call them. And you'll have your shop on make sure you keep your Shop on TV email receipt, basically. They'll have corresponding order numbers and things like that, because obviously the orders come through us and go to them, and then they ship them to you. And they will, I guarantee you, refund every penny of your money, except for the postage and packing. It's the only bit, because actually that they have to pay the postman to do the, but the price of the product, every penny of it, without any argument, without any questions or any quibbles, will be refunded to you via whatever payment method you use to buy it. Immediately. Absolutely immediately. Guaranteed. And then let's say, after 9 years, your duvet starts to get a bit threadbare. Now, unless you're doing some real rough and tumble in your bed. And now, I'm not saying that doesn't happen. It's unlikely that you'll ever have a problem with any of these products. If you ever did, and it would be after probably decades, the cotton's more likely to wear out than the silk. So you might, this is why if you put it in a duvet cover though, and also if you want to put not mattress protectors, what do they call it? Pillow protectors, you can. But here's my advice. You know what I'm going to say. Only pure natural fibre. Now I found, because when the house in my room in our crew house, I am lucky in that I had a double bed. All the others had small doubles, which I'd never even heard of before, and unfortunately Mulberry Silk don't make mattresses in that size. But I got a double mattress, and I got my pillows, and I wanted to find a mattress protector, and had to, because I actually told the landlord, when I move out, you can keep the mattress. So I had to find a mattress protector, but I didn't want to lose all the properties of the Mulberry Silk, because the mattress, you're sleeping on a bed of Mulberry Silk, literally. So I found 100% pure cotton mattress protectors, and they also did pillow protectors. But they are literally 100% cotton, no plastics, nothing inside. Now, they're water resistant, they're probably not waterproof, but what they will do is what they claim to do, which is protect. So if you put those on your pillows, you might get even longer out of them. I've had mine 5, nearly 6 years, well, whenever lockdown began, was it 2020, so 5 years. I guess it's 5 getting on 6 years. And my duvets as well. But there are people out there that have had their duvets for 20, 30, 40 years. The pillows I think they were made in, do you remember what, Kieran, do you remember when Ray said the pillows were made? Was it 2018 or was it before then? It was around 2017, 2018, the pillows first came into play. So the most that anybody would have had them is maybe 7, 8 years. But I've had mine 5, nearly 6. So I must have been one of the... Actually, I think they did launch, didn't they, on that previous show. So, and yeah, 86,000 pillows bought in the first year, 19 individual pillows returned. Ray, he tells all these amazing stories. With the duvets, Ray, if you go to camping shows, like exhibitions and things like that, not trade shows, public shows, he goes to all of them, all around the country, all year long. That's where they do a lot of their business. And there's one particular show he does, I don't know exactly where it is, which it's a weekend show. So I think it's Friday through to Sunday. So people will come up to him, and most of the time people have seen this show or his show, and they know about these already, and they buy one on a Friday. And Ray said, and the reason they do is Ray says, I tell you what, buy it now, go back to your caravan, and sleep under it tonight or on the pillow. If you don't like it, bring it back tomorrow, and I will give you all of your money back. And they do go back the next day, usually to buy another one. Because it's one of those things, you don't know what you don't know. If you've never tried Mulberry Silk, I feel ridiculous, actually, a grown man sitting on live television, ITV1 and STV, hugging a pillow, talking about flipping duvets and pillows. What has my life come to? I'm a professional actor, for crying out loud. But no, I do it with enthusiasm, because it's one of those things, it's the most innocuous, mundane thing. But it has such a major impact on the whole of your life. It really is. Something so simple, something so small that does something so big, something so important for your life. And as I say, that's a Super King. It'll go in a carry-on size suitcase. These are brilliant for caravans. Look, if you've only got a little storage bin like that in your caravan, they're brilliant. Or motorhomes, RVs. You can take them camping or glamping. They are brilliant for that. Single duvet in a tent, oh yeah, baby. And you just don't need anything else. Right, okay, the single is now single figures. The Super King is also single figures, low single figures. They're about to sell out, actually. The pillow, what's the stock update on the pillow? About 30% left, 40%? 40% left. So we had a few more pillows. I'm losing track of time, but it may very well sell out. You never know. Hi, Rob and studio. This is from Dave. Hi, Dave. The rest of the studio says hi. I watched you on that first show on that other channel and was highly sceptical. Aha. I have procrastinated since then about buying, as I wanted to know so much. And also, it's a considered purchase. Yeah, so I can see that. I suppose it is, in a way. I bit the bullet after your last show, and a couple of weeks ago last show a couple of weeks ago for a king size and 2 pillows, and got them on the bed last weekend. Ooh! All I can say after 1 week is that I have had the best sleep for years. Now I need to procrastinate about my mattress. So let's work this out, David. You can correct me or tell me if you want. But if you bought that or you saw a show that I was doing on the previous channel, well, that's got to have been 3 years since that channel, 4 years ago maybe. So at least 4 years ago. So you waited 4 or maybe more years to bite the bullet, and then within 1 week of finally saying yes, have had the best sleep of your life. That's why I urge anyone else who is procrastinating to, well, just stop that immediately. Because at the end of the day, that makes no difference to me, although it does upset me to know there are lots of people out there having horrible quality sleep when the solution's right here. It's right in front of me. It's right in front of you on your television. You could be literally solving the problem of a bad night's sleep. And if you're saying, yeah, but Rob, I sleep fine. No, you don't. I'm sorry, if you're sleeping on a synthetic, under a synthetic duvet or on a synthetic pillow, or if it's got any kind of feather in it, no matter how posh the feathers might be, you are not sleeping properly. I guarantee it that at least I guarantee that I'm certain of that. But the only person that will ever know that for sure is you. And you have, the most it's going to cost you is a £5. Because, all right, if it turns out that everything I've said tonight and all these customers and the whole thing is all a load of rubbish, which is unlikely, wouldn't you say? Then you get your money back and, all right, it's cost you a £5 for the postage. But when you then find out actually that what I'm telling you is the truth, because I've got nothing to gain. I don't. Look, folks, the reason I still do this job, I'll be honest, it's not my primary career. I don't consider it to be anyway. I've never ever hidden that fact. There are times I don't even enjoy it. It's hard work. It really is. And I work during the day and at night. I work more hours now than I've ever worked for any penny I've earned or any pound I've earned or dollar I've earned in my entire existence, professional existence on this planet. But what keeps me coming back, and I mean this, and this is going to sound really schmaltzy, and I apologise, it's you. Because I've met you. Not you necessarily personally, but some of you I have. If Chris Beckers is watching, I have met him several times. How are you doing, Chris? And there are others. And when I speak to people who watch this show and shows like this that I've done over the years and have bought products, and there have been products that have transformed lives in brilliant and positive and impactful ways, meaningful ways, it just blows my mind that I've had a small part in facilitating, helping in that, and it makes me. I mean, maybe it's selfish, but it makes me happy, and that's the kick I get out of doing this job. It really is, and this in particular, I say I am not being paid to sit here and be enthusiastic. Believe it or not, it is not in the shopping show presenter's handbook that you have to sit here and be effervescent about every product. I'm being paid to inform and educate. That's it. I do not consider myself a salesperson. I really don't. I mean, there ain't nothing wrong with it. I mean, being a salesperson is a noble profession. But I hate being sold to. And I would never insult you for a second by trying to sell to you. I'm not trying to make you buy this now. I'm just trying to give you information that allows you to make a decision that might be right for you now. But when I get pushy, like I am, I know I'm being pushy. I get it. I completely understand it. Because, as I often say to my son, and he's 22 now, and he's very full of opinions, and a lot of them are, well, they're all valid. Any opinion's valid. But sometimes you get to the point as the parent where you go, I've been on the earth a lot longer than you, and I happen to know in this particular case I'm right. Well, I've been around Mulberry Silk products for 6, 7 years now. I've slept under them for 5 or 6 years. I've recommended them to every person I care about in my life, and any one of them has actually listened to me, has improved the quality of their sleep literally overnight. And so I am saying to you, if you haven't tried these products, I do know better than you, I believe. in the best possible way, with the best possible intention. And I think that as long as you can afford it, I don't want this to cause anybody financial hardship. And again, I have no interest in just trying to get these out the door, because here's the thing, right? They've got an unconditional money-back guarantee. If these all go out the door and they were rubbish, they'd all come back. And RK Sales, the supplier of these products, the exclusive distributor of Mulberry Silk products in the United Kingdom, would have gone out of business. Because when this is sent back, they don't just go like, there we go, send it out to another customer. No, they can't. It's illegal. They can't repackage it and resend it, even if it's washed. They can't even send it to a pet shelter. Not a pet shelter, sorry, to like homeless shelters and things like that, or charities. They're not allowed to take them for the same reason, because they've been used. So they recommend sending them to pet shelters to make dog beds and things like that out of. So in other words, this, I don't know what this costs to make. I mean, it's £40 to buy, right? The pillow, for example, or this duvet. So the duvet is £139 for the single. It's probably, I don't know, half that, maybe a third of that is the actual cost of materials to make it, and so on and so forth. That's cost, you know? And if that duvet gets sent back, that's, whatever that cost is, that's money lost for the supplier. It's money out the window. They'll never get it back. And if everyone went back, they would have been out of business. But they've actually been in business 67 years. They get the UK, or the Allergy UK seal of, or certificate of approval. They've had that renewed every single year for nigh on 30 years, if not longer. Every single year, and not just for this country, but for Canada, the USA, Ireland, the EU, New Zealand, and Australia. The Super King, I've just heard there are now more people trying to order the Super King than we have stock available. So, oh, I'm on the wrong camera, sorry. If you want, my director did say that, and I was just, and there's the red light. Hello. Sorry, it's getting late. It's been a long 3 weeks. And the single's about to, so now the single is also over allocated. So we've got more people trying to get it than we have stock available. So if you want those, you must check out now. I don't know what I was saying. I was saying something, but anyway, you get the idea. Oh yeah, the Allergy UK, yeah, and they can have that certificate revoked at any time. It's the only duvet. I don't know about pillows. There might be hypoallergenic pillows out there that have Allergy UK certificates, but there's no other duvet that we're aware. We haven't found one. It's the only one. Do you think that the Allergy UK would have approved this thing and certified it if everything I was saying was not true? I mean, I'm just saying. I mean, sometimes you just got to be brutally honest, haven't you? Fendor, please. Nyron, Tracy, Tamsin, and Chelsea. Hello. Are they all ladies there? I think so. Hello. I'm going to say hello, ladies, and apologies if there is a man mixed in there somewhere or two. I'm watching the show with my treacle tonight. Oh. And as I'm a big bloke, oh, I guess one of you, Nyron, it must be you, right? As I'm a big bloke and get very hot in bed, she's gonna be a great investment. Can we all have a shout out, please? Nyron, Tracy, Tamsin, and Chelsea. Yes. Big shout out to all of you. Are you all gonna be in bed under the duvet? But if you are, don't worry, you're not gonna be hot. Well, I mean, you may be hot, but you're not gonna be hot. You're not gonna overheat. You're gonna be the right kind of hot, just the right kind of hot. Can someone take my shovel? And sorry, yeah, no, I spoke, yeah, Nyron. But I think so. Tracy with an EY, is that man or woman? That is woman, I think, or female. Sorry. And Tamsin and Chelsea, I'm guessing, are ladies. But Nyron, apologies, yeah, Nyron obviously is the guy's name, right? Sounds like you're gonna have a fun night. But yeah, you will never overheat. You will never. I'm a big bloke. I was 26 stone, and I've since lost 4 of those, and I've got about another 4 or 5 to go. But I run very hot. I mean, I could walk down the street in my knickers, so to speak, while it's snowing outside, and I'm fine. I'm like Arctic walrus, just without big teeth. But I get into a bed. I can't use synthetic or feather duvets because, in fact, at home I had a 13.5 tog. That's what I bought when I first moved back to the UK. Duvet. I couldn't sleep under it. I had to sleep next to it because my heat would go into the duvet next to me, and then it would get so hot it would just kind of radiate it back at me. Crazy. But I can wrap myself in a Mulberry Silk duvet, and I never, ever, ever overheat. Ever, never. You can't, as far as I'm aware. Vince and Dave from Hull. Hello, how are you doing, Vince and Dave? Just bought your Mulberry Silk Super King duvet. Well done. One of the lucky ones to get the last few available. 2 pillows you got as well. Okay. We're looking forward to having a good night's sleep. You will. Looked at these on and off for ages and decided for Christmas we'd buy them for ourselves. Love watching your show. Have a great Christmas. Thank you, Dave and Hull. Appreciate sorry, Vince and Dave from Hull. You too. It is Christmas. I keep forgetting that. I've only got so I go back to London for a few days. We have our Christmas party on Thursday, so it's going to be Vintage Cash Cow playing out, a pre-recorded video. And then I've only got 4 more shifts before Christmas. I love Christmas. So I always take Christmas off because I work so much during the year. I'm like, at Christmas, I'm pretty much guaranteed that at least for maybe a week, no one will bother me. So I'm literally, Dave's going back to America to see his mum. And I'm just going to sit at home and I'm going to strip down to my boxers, put my feet up in front of the telly, catch up on all the shows that I'm horribly behind on, watch a load of movies, drink a load of sherry, obviously do my Love Actually in a bottle of Baileys, or a few glasses of Baileys from that bottle anyway. And I can't wait, just a bit of peace and quiet. But I love Christmas. I've always loved Christmas. So I hope you have a really good one too. Tracy! Hi Tracy, how are you? Fave Presenter. Is that my official title now? Bought a quilt, pillow and case on the back of it. That's 1 white pillowcase, 1 pillow and 1 Super King duvet. I hold you to the guarantee. You can. It's not my guarantee. It's the... Although, you know what? I've said this in the past. As far as I know, nobody's ever emailed me and sort of taken me up on it. I've said if you ever have any problems with RK Sales giving you your money back, I'd buy it back from you myself. They are, honestly, their company, Martin and Ray and all of the people that work for them, they have integrity and honesty oozing out of every pore. I guarantee the guarantee. I guarantee their guarantee. I mean it. I can't guarantee that everyone's going to love these. I'm just sure they will. I've never ever met one person that didn't like sleeping under Mulberry Silk. I suppose out of the 86,000 pillows sold in the first year, if 19 were returned, there must have been 19 people that didn't get on with them. Look, we're all individual. It may happen from time to time. I've always said, if you don't like Mulberry Silk, email me, genuinely, if you're a genuine customer, verified customer, and I'll read it out, because I'm not hiding anything here. This is as genuine as it gets, folks. Michelle, what mattress and undersheet would you think best for the Mulberry Silk duvet? Well, look, to be perfectly honest with you, the Mulberry Silk duvet, we've got, the Mulberry Silk mattress, we've got in fact, we'll show you in a minute. So it's called the Cocoon, because it's a cocoon fibre, but it's cocoon with a K, but which is what I have. I have 3 of them. The trouble is we've only got king size. So, and also you may, and a lot of people maybe have just bought mattresses or that they can't afford a whole new mattress, although this one comes with a 60-day sleep trial, money-back guarantee and all that kind of stuff, which we'll tell you about in a sec. So what I actually recommend is if you go to shopontv.co.uk, Fraser, is the mattress pad on the show tonight? If you go to, I'll show you, shopontv.co.uk, and you go to the live on air, like that. Oh, really? Sorry, I just found out the double sold out. But if you scroll down, right, there's a mattress pad. You see that? So they're about the same size as the duvet. So it's a more affordable way of turning your existing mattress into a Mulberry Silk mattress. They are full of Mulberry Silk, but we've only got the double. Oh, hang on. No, they're all there. Oh, it's out of... right. OK, we've only got the king, the single and the Super King at the moment. But the double will come back in stock soon, I'm sure. And they just sort of, I don't know, I think they have elastic that kind of, attaches them to the bed. But yeah, they've got they've got miles of Mulberry Silk in them. So then you're sleeping on Mulberry Silk, under a Mulberry Silk duvet, and with your head on a Mulberry Silk pillow. Yeah, but if you can afford the mattress, how many more emails have I got here? I've got quite a few. Do you know, before we do the video, can I just answer these really quickly? So that's what I would, and the undersheet. Right, so if you do get a Mulberry Silk mattress or a Mulberry Silk mattress pad, Michelle, make sure you get Egyptian cotton or regular cotton. It doesn't have to be Egyptian. Regular cotton feels more hospital bed to me, but Egyptian cotton feels more luxury hotel. 300 thread count. Amazon have got them. Dunelm, Dreams, wherever you go. As long as cotton or Egyptian cotton, if it's microfiber or if any polyester or anything like that, that's going to block all of the properties of the mulberry silk because it's not breathable, and also it can cause you to sweat. So I'd get yourself Egyptian cotton fitted sheet, about 15 quid. I paid for mine, 300 thread count. It's dirt cheap. Okay. Can you tell me how to wash dry the pillows? Yeah, absolutely. So depends on the size of your washing machine. I've got a regular 7.5 kilo front-loading washing machine. You can stuff 2 pillows in there. I like one to move around and have a bit of room, you know. So I do them one at a time. 30-degree wash. You don't want to do a sort of a harsh like cotton wash. I do mine on I think it's like a delicates or it's actually use a synthetic cycle. It's about half the time. I don't know. Just use a delicate cycle. That's all you need. You don't need a lot. You don't need to kind of pummel the heck out of them. It doesn't matter. They'll take the punishment, but it's just unnecessary. Just wasting water and electricity. So I mean, you know, a half an hour, 45-minute kind of wash, 30 degrees. Use whatever your favourite detergent is, whether it's powder, whether it's gel, whether it's tablets, whatever it may liquid. You can use fabric softener if you wish. Scented fabric softeners, they're all fine. Don't use any bleach. Please don't use bleach, because that will not be good. But if you do need to brighten the outer cover, then you can get Vanish. Do a Vanish gel that's safe for silk. Just make sure that whatever you use, if it's an oxy-type powder or what have you, that it is safe for silk. Usually the powders are not, but the gels are, in my experience anyway. Okay. I just bought my second Super King duvet. The first one was the best purchase I've ever made. This is from Leanne. Hey, Leanne, how are you? I hope everyone's taking heed to all of these emails. These are genuine customer emails, folks. These are real testimonials of real people. People don't say this stuff if it ain't true. I've had great sleep since the first, well, over a year ago. Wow. Can't wait to try the pillows. I also just ordered. P.S. I also hate being sold to, but I can't stop telling people about these, especially as a woman of a certain age. I know. Well, you see, Leanne, that's what I'm in. That's the position I'm in. I'm trying to do my job, but I think, frankly, with me sitting here for 3 hours, I think it would be everyone would fall asleep. I'd probably put myself to sleep. So my enthusiasm, the only reason I'm doing this on my own, they'd have done a different show, but they don't mind putting me here when we don't have a guest because they know how enthusiastic I am about these products. So I'm like you, I don't like selling to people. I'm not trying to sell to people. I say, don't buy it. If you don't want it, don't buy it. But if you want to sleep better, and better than you've ever slept before, especially if you've only ever slept on a synthetic or under synthetic and feather type product, even wool. Wool's a bit of a grey area. Some people will say wool has similar properties to silk. I don't subscribe to that personally. But I'm not here to argue, do you know what I mean? So, Leanne, I'm with you. But if people want to have a better night's sleep, what would they do? What should they do? And I know you'd say the same thing, sleep under mulberry silk, right? How funny! And honestly, unless I unconsciously saw this, I may have just seen it without realising it. Stephen just said from Rotherham said, "Hi, is the mulberry silk better than a wool duvet? Please advise." I believe it is. Yes, wool is a natural fibre. People wear silk to cool them down. They don't wear wool to cool them down, do they? They do wear wool to warm them up. But I don't think that wool has the same temperature regulating properties as silk, if I'm being honest. Now, I want to be totally transparent here. I'm not an expert on wool. I have had some conversations with Ray and with other people, actually, that wool duvets are good, I think. Depends on who's making it and what quality of wool it is and blah, blah, blah. But when it comes to comparing that to mulberry silk, I don't think there's any comparison personally, but I don't know because I've not slept under a wool duvet, so I can't really give you a definitive answer. And obviously, you know, of course, I would say buy mulberry silk because I'm here representing mulberry silk. But what I would say is, if you want to try both, get a wool one, get a mulberry silk one, and you've got a money back guarantee. The only thing is, I don't know if the wool one will, because if you buy a duvet and use it, that usually is stuck with it. Generally, from what I've heard from people who do know, there's no comparison. Mulberry silk is just hands down, you know. I mean, it's the finest silk money can buy. So, and the properties that it has are quite unique to silk. I don't think they are the same with wool. But if you want to do a Google of wool and what, you know, properties of wool duvets, maybe some of them aren't the same. I'm not sure, but do a little comparison. But certainly, we've had this question a few times in previous shows. And people who've actually tried both and said that this was just hands down way better. But then I think you have to be your own, take your own advice on that. Be your own judge. That's the word I was looking for. Sorry, that was not helpful at all, but I tried. Dave again. Hi, Dave again. Yes, Rob, to answer your question, I've wasted so much time on this for lots of reasons, and I was so sceptical. My wife runs hot, I run cold. When I told her that I bought them, she said that won't keep me warm. Put them on the bed. She believes now. I know, it's such a stupid thing to be so clever, isn't it? A blooming duvet. As I say, I mean, I'm not ashamed to be sitting here talking about a duvet. It's just a bit weird. 5 years ago, I was in Hollywood making films. It's bizarre, but it's such a great product. It's such a great product. It really is. And I think you'll know about me if you watch me for any period of time, or have watched me for any period of time. Often to my own detriment, I always say what I think. And if I can't say it for reasons of profanity or what have you, then obviously for TV I have to edit what I say to a degree. But I'm always honest, and that's why. Have you ever seen me selling another pillow on Shop on TV? We do sell them. They're good on paper, but they won't put me with them because they know I can't possibly enthuse about. How can I sit here and say this is the best pillow you can buy, if I then get given another pillow to show you and describe to you? It's so, I do get into trouble a lot with my way of doing things, but I appreciate that you appreciate it. And at the end of the day, customer's always right? So anyway, I'm going to, there's another email, one more, sorry, did I miss one? I apologize. Oh, David, hello, another David. Good name, good solid name, David. If I ever have a son, I'll name him that. Oh, wait, I did and I have. Actually, I was going to be David, but my eldest cousin, beat me to it. I was most disappointed. So I always said, because I love the name David, and I always said, right, when I have a son, I'm going to call him David. And my ex-wife and I, and we're still very good friends, Dave's mum, when we came to picking, we knew she was pregnant and came to picking names, we went, right, if it's a boy, we'll both say the name we like after 3, so it was like 3, 2, 1, and we both said David. Oh, okay. And then the girl's name was a little bit more difficult. Thankfully, we didn't have a girl. Well, not thankfully we didn't have a girl, but thankfully because of the name, that would have been an interesting argument. So, but we did land in the end on something. Anyway, David says, just bought 3 duvets for me and the kids. We're all allergic to feathers, and so this is a great. Oh yeah. I'm horribly allergic to feathers. You'll love these, and Christmas is a great time to do it actually because you might have in-laws and people like guests coming around to stay, and worst case scenario, you can always give them your old bedding and you get the new stuff. But I would recommend, kids are it's so funny. When my son David was a kid, I used to both my ex. Michelle and I both used to neglect him in the bedroom. Now, what I mean by that is you just think kids are so resilient. So it's like, well, he doesn't need a really expensive bed. He just, a regular, reasonably priced bed, reasonably priced mattress. In fact, we went for one, I think we got one from IKEA because it had drawers and bits and bobs and stuff like that. But the mattress was about 50, 60 quid. It was rubbish, but it was small and young and we thought that was fine. And then, standard synthetic pillows, synthetic duvet, cheap old, $20. It was in America, obviously. 20, $30. And he was like, I can't sleep, Mum, Dad, I can't sleep. Go to bed, I can't sleep. And it's like, and we do that, don't we, with our kids? We kind of, we almost, well, at least some of us do. I know I did, and not meaning to. But kids are apparently real people too. And actually, it's quite critical, isn't it, that they sort of get a good night's sleep, particularly when they're at that age, that they're studying and only taking exams and what have you that could literally change the outcome of their entire lives. And that ain't an easy thing to do tired. I know, I speak from experience. So maybe treat your kids, upgrade your kids' bedding, obviously, and upgrade your. I'm going to put this on a T-shirt. Mulberry Silk, upgrade your sleep. Now, we've had lots of people asking about the Cocoon mattress. We only have one size. I'm really sorry. We're trying desperately to restock this, but it's just the king size. But however, I have been talking all night about Ray Kennedy from RK Sales, so you're going to get to meet him now. Here's a little video from Another Day, Another Time, Another Dimension. And here is Ray, part 1 of 2, talking about the Cocoon mattress.
This is an extraordinary mattress. It's packed with silk, and because it is packed with silk, it's better, in our opinion, than, say, mattresses which don't have silk in them. Now, how this happened is quite simple. We decided to enter the mattress business roughly about 5 years ago, and we were in a very, very fortunate position, Rob, and I'll tell you why I say that. As you know from previous shows that we have done together over years, as a company, we exhibit at every major retail exhibition in Britain.
Yeah.
And we have done for 65 years. And we talk to the public. When we're live at an exhibition, we talk to the public. And we ask them their likes and their dislikes. And they tell us what they like and they dislike about their bedding. Now, we discovered by asking over a period of about 18 months before we started to manufacture this mattress, we discovered that basically there's two types of mattresses you can get, memory foam or a sprung mattress. Now, some people like memory foam, but we discovered an awful lot of people were unhappy with it.
Yeah.
Let's put it that way.
Yes, yes.
It made them too hot, and it tended, in their opinion, to lose shape very quickly.
Yeah.
In actual fact, that happened to my wife and myself. About 9 to 10, 11 years ago, we decided we would like a new mattress. We went to the shop that sells mattresses, and she made me lie in the bed and test it. I lay in the bed for 3 or 4 minutes, 5 minutes, thought this feels okay. Bought one, paid, I think, it was roughly close to £1,000 anyway for it, had it delivered, and 3 or 4 months after we had it delivered, I discovered I didn't really like it at all. I was overheating on it, and it lost shape very quickly, and I was sinking into a hollow within this memory foam mattress. So I was of the same opinion as the public, that based on the information we had gained over 18 months by talking to the public at roughly 100 retailer outlets every year, that springs were really much better than memory foam to have in a mattress.
But as we've already said, there are different types of spring.
Yeah.
Maybe we haven't really covered that. Well, there are different types of
Yes,
spring.
of course. Well, the old-fashioned sprung mattresses, the springs within the mattress were very large in diameter. Each one was joined to the one next door, and they had a serpentine rail that ran round the outer. Now, the problem then was, of course, I weigh about 19, 20 stone. My wife weighed roughly 10 stone. And when I turned over in bed, the springs, because they were all joined together, you got motion transfer. When I turned over, she ended up rolling over on top of me and bumping into me.
Sometimes the only way you can get a cuddle,
It's the
isn't
only
it?
way you can get a cuddle. Rob, I've been married 48 years. You don't get many cuddles after 48 years. I can assure you. So what we decided to do as a company, we decided to manufacture a modern mattress with pocket springs.
Right.
Now, this is a cut-down version of what's inside this mattress. This is the pocket springs that you will find inside this mattress. Unlike the old-fashioned springs, these stand on their own. They are not joined together. Now, this is a medium firm support mattress. When you sleep in this, your body is going to be supported. You're not going to sink into a hollow.
Right.
It's not going to lose shape. It cannot lose shape.
Yes.
Because there's so many springs within the mattress. I think from memory, in a king, there's roughly 800 springs, which is quite a lot.
And they all contour, they fit the contours.
Yes, well, I'll show you this. This might interest the viewers. You'll find, because they all stand independently, the only springs that move in this mattress are the springs where the weight is directly above that particular spring. And to give you some indication of what I mean, if I press this spring down right in the corner, flat as a pancake, the springs either side don't move.
Right.
They simply don't move because they're individual pocket springs.
The mattresses are fab. They're a medium. If he didn't say this, I was talking to the crew actually. They're a medium firm support mattress. I love them. I really do. So I've got one on my bed in the house in Warrington. I've got a Super King one for my bed at home, and my son's got a king size. So they are. I mean, I wouldn't have bought 3 of them. And what a price for what you get. They're a brilliant price. I paid the same. In fact, I paid more for just regular sprung mattresses, which I didn't even know were sprung mattresses when I bought my beds from the bedding shop when I first moved back from the States. There was no money back guarantee, no trial period. I think it was 2 days. And the first couple of days, I'm like, my God, I woke up, my back, I felt like my back had been broken, like I'd been tortured or something. And I thought, it must be, again, I did what everyone does. I said, it must be me. I slept funny. And then, so I've literally, for years, they broke my back until I finally got the Cocoon mattresses, and now I sleep so well. And again, they keep you cool. So you're with the Mulberry Silk, you're cool on top, but you also, with the mattress, you're cool underneath as well. They keep you at the right temperature all around. I mean, they're great if you can afford one. Otherwise, go for the mattress pad. That would be my recommendation. You get the same benefits, but you don't have to buy the whole mattress. But if you want the whole mattress, 60-day sleep trial. And again, you'll get all your money back. And also, it's only a tenner to have it delivered, which is ridiculous, isn't it? Now, also, it's capped P&P. So the first $4.95 of any order is always you only pay that once. So if you bought the pillow, the duvet, anything, and pillowcases, you pay the $4.95. Now, the mattress has got an extra $5 on top. It's a mattress, but that includes the delivery and return if you return it. So that extra $5, you only pay the extra $5. If you've already bought something else, you just pay the difference. So if you put a mattress and a pillow, you'd only pay $9.95 for both. Does that make sense? Because the first $4.95 is always capped. You just pay the difference if there's any extra on top on additional items. So you know what? Let's go back to Ray. We've got one more little clip. A lot of interest in the mattress for good reason. I'm so sorry we don't have enough sizes. I mean, we've tried to get them back, but it's. Do you know, there's more silk in those mattresses. I mean, first of all, you're getting the pillow top version, but you're only paying the price for the basic. They've got 3 different versions. One of them's a basic, one of them's a pillow top, and then I think they've got a pillow top with copper infused or something like that. But you're getting the top of the range for the bottom of the range price. Again, another special deal arranged just for Shop on TV for you. So if you can do it, if you can get it, great. And they come rolled up, by the way, vacuum packed. You just put them on the bed, cut off the packaging, and they kind of expand. Throw all the packaging away, use your own bedding on it. Treat that mattress like it's your own. Do everything you would do on that mattress that you would do on any other mattress you bought, that's on your bed currently. And if you're not completely satisfied, it doesn't matter what you've done on it. They will send you a bag to put it in, and then someone will come and collect it, and that's all included in the $9.95. Absolutely free of charge, guaranteed. 60 days, you can sleep on it for 2 months, which is incredible. And then when you've actually bought it and decide to keep it, it's got a 10-year guarantee. So again, another fantastic product from Mulberry Silk. And here's Ray to tell you even more.
As a company, we pay attention to detail. This is manufactured to the highest standards. We use the best fabrics. We've got people we consider to be experts. We export to countries all over the world.
Yeah.
We have a good reputation, I think it would be fair to say, for selling good quality merchandise at an affordable price. And the reason why our prices are so low, you might wonder why are they telling me it's wonderful and yet the prices are so low? Here's the reason why. Normally when you manufacture a mattress, a duvet, a pillow or a pillow slip, when you have it ready to be sold to the public, you take it to a distributor. He then takes it to a wholesaler, and the wholesaler takes it to the retailer. Now, each one of those people add on a margin of profit, quite rightly. Mm-hmm. They've done nothing wrong. They're entitled to make a profit for their work. We have eliminated those 3 people. We only have one partner. We call them partners in each country. You can only buy this mattress from myself at a live presentation or from Shop on TV. The buyers at Shop on TV are very professional, I can assure you, and very tenacious. And they buy very large quantities at an advantageous price, and they work in low margins.
Yes.
So basically what you're getting here is outstanding value for money,
And it's
backed up with a 10-year warranty.
10-year warranty.
Well, the coils are individual pocket-sprung freestanding coils. And because of the pocket sprung and the freestanding, they give you total and complete support. Each one is individual and they're not joined together, so they hold your body in the most perfect sleeping position. The silk within the mattress is AAA grade mulberry silk. If you do your research and Google or Wikipedia, they will tell you mulberry silk, especially AAA, is the highest grade silk in the world. You will also find dust mites don't like it. The allergy board will tell you that dust mites don't like silk. So people with allergies, please think about buying a duvet that has no dust mites in it.
Yeah, and
I'm not saying it will cure your allergies. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a medical practitioner. I couldn't possibly claim that. But what I can say is, get rid of the dust mites. You're walking in the right direction. If you want a good night's sleep, buy one of these mattresses, put it in the bed. If you don't like it, and that's virtually impossible not to like it, we will refund your money. One telephone call, we'll come and pick it up, no problem.
I mean, the credibility of that man is well, it's incredible. No, it's not true. That's a bit of a contradiction in terms, isn't it? His credibility is incredible. No, his credibility is exemplary. We'll go back to the Mulberry Silk Duvet. I've got a couple more emails. By the way, we've only got about 5 minutes left on the show. I'm gone now until next Friday evening, because we have our Christmas party on Thursday evening, and it's Thursday, Friday, Saturday are my regular days here. So if you want to come and I'm going to be back for 4 more shifts before Christmas, but if you want to come and tell me, say Merry Christmas, I would love to say Merry Christmas back to you. Just drop me an email, studio@shopontv.co.uk. Anyone in the household that's watching right now that wants a Merry Christmas, happy to do it in the last closing moments of the show. But be quick, and Fraser, obviously our producer, will hopefully send them down. Danielle, hi Danielle, how you doing? Says, my husband snores, would you recommend? Well, I'd recommend the pillow and the duvet, but not necessarily because your husband snores. They're not sold as anti-snoring products. Although we did have a viewer tonight who, since they slept on the pillow, apparently it did help alleviate some snoring. But that's possibly because they're just the right height to help keep your spine and your airways and everything aligned. So they may help. I don't know. We can't guarantee that. There's no testing or research that's been done on that. They're just a mighty fine pillow, and maybe you'll sleep so well you won't notice your husband snoring. All I can say is that give it a go. What have you got to lose? Well, the only thing you've got to lose is a good night's sleep. Rona, hi Rona, how you doing? Hi Shop on Team and Rob. Let me try that again. Hi Shop on Team and Rob. Been watching on TikTok. Hey, on TikTok. No, Sam's gone off somewhere. Still watching on my TV. Love getting to see the show. And it makes the night go so much quicker when watching, and feels less alone in the small hours of the night. And the giggles I get from the show. Oh, thank you. I would make you giggle a lot more, but I get in trouble when I do that sort of thing. Please don't ever stop doing the show. It's fantastic and keeps me company at night. Would highly recommend for anyone who struggles to sleep at night to watch the show and not feel alone too. Rona, thank you. That, honestly, it's why I do it. It really, honestly, truly is. I laughingly said years ago, God, what I want is a show. It's just a live show where they just, put me on ITV and it's live and I just make it up as I go along. But they'll never do that. And that's what I've been doing for the last 5 or 6 years. But obviously we're within the confines of a show format that is not conducive to excessive comedy. But I do sometimes push the envelope. And I'm glad you enjoy it. So I really appreciate that. I don't get out much these days, I have to say, because I'm always here, or at least if I'm not on telly, I'm working behind the scenes. So it's wonderful to have you, knowing you're there watching, even after football highlights when most people have gone to bed. For those that have stayed with us, and tune in just for us as well. It's always worth looking at your electronic programme guide or the ITV website. And now we're on ITVX as well. A lot of people weren't able to see us on Freeview. But now, you know, the ITV app, the ITVX app or the ITV website, if you've got a smart TV or a games console that's got ITVX on it, now everyone can see us, and you can actually start the show from the beginning if you've missed any of it. So I will always be here as long as I can, you know, unless when Christopher Nolan or Steven Spielberg call, I might be gone for a while, but unless I'm nominated for an Oscar, I'll probably always come back. That's all I can say. It's the best I can do, Rona, sorry. Yeah, so if you want to get your any Christmas emails in just before I go, please do. But I must urge you to check out, we've got lots of you, as always, with these in your baskets. We've got literally one or two left of the single or the king. If you want the single or the king, it's about to sell out. I won't be here on the telly because we're about to go off the air to let you know when it has sold out. You may find if you come back later to buy it that you will, or if you're watching on Plus One, that it will say out of stock. So always check the website if you're watching on ITV1 Plus One or STV Plus One. Yeah, and the duvets. If you want to sleep better than you've ever slept before, my recommendation, and not because I get paid to say it, because I don't, and not because I make commission if you buy it, because I don't, because I use these products. I genuinely, hand on heart, on the lives of all those near and dear to me, I use these products. In fact, all those that are near and dear to me also use these products per my recommendation. And I'm giving you the same recommendation I would give to my best friend, as I did, to my parents, as I did, to my son, as I did. And guess what? We're all sleeping under Mulberry Silk duvets, on Mulberry Silk pillows, and in a lot of cases, the mattresses too. So thank you so much for watching. That's it for me. I'm going to get in the car and drive back to London for a few days, and then I will be back Friday night into Saturday morning for a couple of days, and then the following Thursday night into Friday night, and then that'll be me done for Christmas. So I hope you can join me. Until then, good night. God bless.